Good morning, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I needed coffee. And as I said earlier in the chat, nothing takes longer than coffee when you're already running late. Kind of sounds like it's ironic, don't you think? Uh, anyway, don't leave. I promise it won't get any worse than that. Anyway, I have a wonderful guest today, Cristie from Meeting Wellness. Let's go ahead and bring her over. Good morning, Cristie.
Good morning, Dustin. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. I had my coffee too. It's okay. I get it. All good.
I'm
What you know
excited to
what?
have you
But
here today. Yeah.
between my mug and your mug, we match your color scheme pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah. I got a little bit of Buc-ee's.
Oh, nice. We don't have Buc-ee's out here in
We
Southern
don't either.
California.
No,
Oh,
we
you
don't. Well, we
traveled.
have them. Yeah, we travel. We got this came from. I want to say this came from one I haven't been to. My daughter was traveling through from North Carolina or whatever that wherever they went, somewhere in Tennessee, and they came
Mm,
back through Kentucky and brought this to me. But I've been to like 3 or 4 different ones across the country, but they're coming closer and closer every year.
awesome.
So I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for having me.
I just want to talk to you a little bit at first to start things off for anybody who may not be aware, just to talk about your story a little bit, sort of where you like what started you on the path of wellness, if you will, and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah. So I was the typical yo-yo dieter starting from my high school years. Because when I put on a few pounds and I didn't like that, I thought the way to go was for sure to just restrict my calories and eat less. And that led to a pretty good or bad obsession with eating less to try to keep my weight under control. And I guess in terms of keeping my weight under control, I mean, if you want to look at it just from that limited perspective, I was pretty successful in the sense that I never got, my weight never got crazy out of control, right? But I for sure was not healthy. So because I was restricting calories so much, I wasn't giving my body nutrition. I was tired all the time. I had no energy, and my anxiety sort of gradually increased, over all these years of trying to do this. Meanwhile, I was miserable because my weight just kept fluctuating, up and down the same 20 pounds. So I was never really successful in, keeping my weight low. But at the same time, when my weight was at its lowest, I was never satisfied there either. So I just generally was a miserable person in terms of the way I felt about myself, my body image, my mental well-being, and all of that was just not in a good place from the time I was 15, 16, all the way up until almost present day, February of 2023. So in February of 2023, I decided, well, my weight is starting to creep up again. And so I've never tried keto. So let's just try keto, but like without really even researching it or knowing what that meant. It was like I'd kind of heard of it. And so I just jumped in, but not really knowing what I was doing. Kind of similar to my other foray into low carb. I had heard of Atkins, right? And like tried to be low carb, but never really knowing fully or researching it, right? Never even thinking that that was maybe important. Like I thought at the time, I probably knew what I was doing or whatever, but it was just things I'd heard, and never really looking into it. So yeah, so I jumped into keto in February, but within a week of doing that, I actually joined a Facebook, like a keto Facebook group, which was the first time I had ever done anything like joining any kind of group on social media, like in my life, other than through teaching. Because in 2020, when they sent all of us teachers home to just randomly teach online with no support and no materials or anything of the kind, we teachers, started joining Facebook groups. to support each other. So yeah, so I learned about that, and I thought, well, then maybe there's a keto Facebook group, so I joined one, and it didn't take too long before in one of the comments, someone mentioned Dr. Barry, and I had never heard of such person, but I thought I'm going to go look this Dr. Barry guy up. Which then, as many of you, I'm sure, in the chat have also done. Yeah, I went on a Dr. Barry binge watching session. I watched the majority of his keto playlist, learned about the proper human diet and how to do keto appropriately and whole foods and meat based and all of that good stuff. And so, yeah, that's what I did. So that was probably the first time in my life that I tried any like diet approach with any sort of like research or education or learning something about it other than just, well, if I just restrict low enough, I should be losing weight because that's what we're supposed to do. And so when I was doing keto, I still did track, but mostly just for carbs because I really had no idea what 20 total carbs looked like. I had never done that before. But I was no longer tracking, like calories and things like that. So yeah, that as far in terms of weight loss, that was successful for me. I lost the 20 pounds, that I had intended to lose. And then throughout that process, I just sort of got lazy with like, I don't really feel like cooking broccoli. I don't really feel like cooking whatever the side dishes fill in the blank, right? And so I would just eat the ribeye without minus the vegetables until one day it sort of occurred to me that I guess I'm sort of carnivore. So through no choice or conscious effort or decision. I was mostly just sort of beef, butter, bacon, and eggs kind of a person. And then that's when I really started to notice like the other benefits. So earlier you heard me talk about my anxiety. I had no idea that I had anxiety. Like I thought I was just an introvert. Like I thought I just didn't want to be around people. I didn't want to go anywhere or do anything. I just chalked that up to, introvertedness. But in hindsight, after getting rid of the rest of, or most of the rest of any carbs, I started to notice my brain fog lifted. I no longer felt this like anxiousness in terms of being around people. It was to the point where I wouldn't even want to go for a walk. Like I wouldn't want to go outside and go for a walk because like gasp, people could see me, right? So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go to the grocery store because people could see me. So like all of that went away. Like I don't have any of that anymore, which is crazy to me. So all of the other benefits of this way of eating sort of occurred after June, which is when I sort of noticed that I wasn't really eating too many vegetables anymore, and I was mostly just sticking with beef, butter, bacon, and egg, the occasional chicken or pork or things like that. So that kind of leads us up to now, January. I guess I've been carnivore for about 7 months and I'm feeling great.
It's wonderful. It's one of those things like you talk about anxiety, you talk about those feelings, those introverted feelings. And I see so many people that are in my personal social circles, my person, like people that, that I'm around in
Mhm.
person with that's such a normal thing, a normal part of life these days that, my anxiety is bothering me. I don't really want to go anywhere. Now, I've kind of gotten to the point where I don't want to go anywhere, but it's not an anxiety based thing. It's more of a I think everything that happened over the last few years and really like putting us at home for so long that I just
Mm,
grew comfortable here. And
mhm.
now I have to battle myself to go out and do stuff like not so much the grocery store like we were at Costco last night or we'll do whatever, but like doing more social things outside of the meetups and such that I do. Because I went like 2 weeks ago and we went to yeah, it was 2 weeks ago now, last week. Yeah, last week. I went to Cincinnati for a couple of hours and hung out with Cindy and Emily and James and Jen Delaney and her husband and and Robin and it was great. And we went to Jungle Gyms after, which is a madhouse any day of the week that you go. It's this giant international market that's kind of like gimmicky to a degree,
Okay.
but yeah. So yeah, I mean And that doesn't bother me. I mean, sometimes it's being so packed and you can't move very well. It's kind of irritating, but
Yeah.
outside of that, like,
Well,
yeah,
I wouldn't classify myself as an extrovert by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not saying that I want to be in a big crowd of people, but I'm saying that the thought of it doesn't make me want to run and hide under a rock somewhere. Like I
right,
have a wedding,
yes,
like I have a wedding today. Okay. Am I excited about it? I mean, no, no. It's raining here. I'm gonna have to put on my high heels. Like, I'm not excited about, but I'm not anxious about it, right? Like, I'm gonna go. I'm sure once I get there, it'll be fine. I'm not anxious. I'm not worried about when all those people see me. Are they gonna think that my dress looks weird? That I'm walking funny in my high heels? That I have something on my face? If my makeup isn't perfect or whatever. Not that I'm wearing any right now, but I'll probably put some on later.
I'm not
Like I
wearing
won't
any
have any
either.
of those. Not today. You haven't been around the girl, as you like to call
Not
her.
today. No, I don't have any
Oh,
bows in. I'm
no,
not
none of
wearing
that.
glitter eyeliner.
None of that.
No,
Yeah. So, it's just different. It's not like I'm not like a social butterfly, but I'm not like dreading it, thinking of 10 excuses. Like it's my teacher bestie's daughter. Like I need to go. But like in the past, I would have been thinking of, okay, what excuse can I come up with that she's going to buy that won't make me look like a horrible person, but so that I don't have to go because I'm worried about what all the other thoughts that everyone else is probably having about what I'm doing, you know.
that's like one of my favorite things, like takeaways from psychology in high school was, and I can't remember whose quote it is, but it's one of those things that I try to keep in my head because it kind of goes in line with they're going to think this, they're going to think this, and it's never what they're going to think because it's
Mm.
like I'm not who I think I am, and I'm not who you think I am.
Mhm.
I am who I think you think I am. And it's just one of those things that's been in my head since like the 11th grade. And it helps because it kind of gives you like, okay, I need to get out of my own head because that's where all that anxiety, like all that, like, oh, they're gonna think this, like, I struggle with that too. So like, if I have, not the right shoes, or they're gonna look at my shoes and think, I mean, it's silliness, but
Yeah.
it's all too real for almost all of us. So it is kind of good, like that I have that kind of thing that I can think about and kind of right the ship, if you will. We've got a
Yeah.
lot of great people here in the chat today. Joe is here. He said it's a little too ironic.
I
So
really
we're
do
back up a
think.
little bit. And John Gugahan is here. Good morning.
Hi, John.
And Joe is here. Thank you for being here.
Hello.
Let's see. John said he's got some errands to run, but wanted to pop in and say hi. Well, I appreciate you so very much. And Lynn is here. Good morning, Lynn. It's not seven. Yeah, I got a couple of texts this morning at 7:30. We can't find your live. And I'm like, well, it's not till 11:30.
Because if it was 7:30 where you are, Dustin, that would have been 4:30 a.m. for me. It's a
I threw
little,
you under the bus real fast. I was like, I'm having another West Coast guest on, so that's what I do. I throw my
yeah.
guests under the bus.
Blame me. Sorry, everybody.
We've got less junk, more health here. Thank you for being here. They're from your channel. They're coming from your side of things.
Hello.
And Jay Hoggard the same.
Hi, Jay.
And let's see here. We've got mentor Jessica. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
And just Jason Keto is here.
Awesome. Hi, Jason.
And Kenneth Patterson. How's your wife, Ken? I'm sure. Oh, there she is. Stacy. Good morning, Stacy.
Aha. Hello.
We've got Nourishment Redacted. Thank you for being here.
Ellie.
And let's see who else we've got. A little behind here. We got Brenda Foley. Good morning. Good morning. Lainey is saying hi from Australia.
Awesome. Hi, Lainey.
It's so crazy to me when somebody comes in like, I'm from Australia. It's like, it's so like disconnected. I just want to be like, how's Bluey? No, but
How's the future? It's Sunday morning over there. So
yeah.
yeah, she's in the future. How is it, Lainey?
What are the lottery numbers?
Yeah. Let us know. Oh my goodness.
Evelyn is here. I think I saw her. Evelyn, she said she's late. You're never late, dear.
Hi,
And
Evelyn.
Twin Maples is here,
Hi, Twin Maples.
and Cindy, and that Cristie lady's here, and Black Star. Thank you for being here. It is I think it's time to trim it down a little bit. It gets a little in the way, and I don't like the way it looks if it's too short, so I'm always careful. So you know how that goes, right?
It's a balance.
Yeah. And let's see. Twin Maples is saying a new social thing is to go to the local YMCA. Their new local thing is go to the YMCA, play pickleball. That sounds fun. We need to start doing YMCA and doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. The last wedding I went to besides today was my aunt's wedding, and she's all into tennis. It was at her tennis club, and like everybody was just supposed to dress comfortable. People wore their tennis clothes. Other people changed into their tennis clothes. I played pickleball for the first time at that wedding. So it was a different kind of wedding, but it was fun. Today is not that kind of wedding. I'll be in a dress and high heels.
I think that more weddings need to be fun and like, it's so stuffy and like, I had one of the last weddings I went to was a friend's wedding, and another one of my friends officiated it. And basically in this has been like probably 5-6 years ago. I've been to more weddings since, but it's whatever. But the friend that was doing the officiating, he basically rickrolled everybody with the vows and everything. I'm never going to give you up. I'm never going to let you down, turn around and leave you, and all that stuff. He wove that into his speech.
That's
funny. It was like real subtle, and you're like, wait.
I've heard this before.
Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah, it is
pretty epic.
Yeah. And Jason says, same with going to the gym. No one's watching you or cares. That's what Logan Delgado said last week. Goody Beats was saying the same thing last week. And that is a hard one to overcome, because the gym that I have a membership to, it's one of the most packed gyms I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, like,
it doesn't matter. Like when I first started going, there was it was like a Sunday morning, snowstorm had hit. It was only like 3 or 4 inches of snow, but still like one of the first snows of the year. And it was still packed. I figured no one's going to be there. They're all going to take the day off. Nope. But it's got it's got, like the sauna, the steam room. It's got the hot tub and the pool. And
if I could find a gym with a sauna, it might inspire me to join. But I don't think we have one here. Anyways, I'm doing my workouts at home. It's fine. I don't want to go with the crowds. I'm with you.
I would rather. I want the sauna in the house. I want a cold plunge. I've been trying to look at the most economical way to get a cold plunge, but I also don't want to buy this time of year is fine. I can just put the water out there and just break the top open and it's freezing cold. But I don't want to buy ice every day.
Yeah, that would be expensive. It's we don't have that problem here, but this morning it was raining, so I didn't do my sprints, but I've been sprinting when it's 30 degrees outside. I'm like, that counts, right?
Every little bit counts. Even walking around Costco helps, all that stuff. Just getting, all the steps in and doing what you can. And I just get stuck in my own little world and I never leave the house unless I'm going grocery shopping or something like that. So that's the thing that I have to work on.
Yeah. I want to get out for more walks. I was going for walks, and then summer hit 6 months ago. We got 100 degrees, and then I never as it cooled off, I never got myself back out to doing that.
Yeah, it's either too hot or right now it's 2 degrees, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have 2 degrees. I mean, it's nice. Nobody wants to hear my weather. They're like, you have nothing to complain about. It is rainy today though, and for 3 days it will be raining.
This goes in line with the weather. So she's asking, how's the weather where you are? It's cold here. It's probably the sun's up, so it might be in the 20s. But as soon as the sun starts to go down, it's been 11, 10. She said it's 10 degrees where they are and sunny.
Yeah, no. It's 50, 60 degrees here. It gets down colder at night. And then on the rainy days, it actually keeps it kind of warmer. It doesn't cool off as much. Some fog, some rain, but mostly it's sunny and generally nice, 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Southern California, can't complain too much.
And Evelyn says that she's found that most people are doing the same thing with their, in their own
Yes.
heads. Like, well, what do they think about me? And they're thinking the same thing about you. So we're all
Yep.
kind of like little manic, little,
Yep.
we're all worried about
100%.
what everyone's thinking, and we're not thinking about that they're thinking. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Let's see, Cristie, what time is it out there on the left coast? It's what?
Oh, it's just about 9 a.m. right now. Yeah, I just kind of started my day, did my workout, brought my groceries in from the porch. To Dustin's point, I did not go to the grocery store. I have them delivered to my porch because convenience is a thing. Not because I don't want to go. I just convenience. But yeah,
I'm
so
too
I
much
did
of a
that.
control freak for the grocery delivery.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't care. Bring me what. Although one and a half of my eggs. So I ordered 4 dozen eggs, and one of them was half smashed. So I'm gonna have to deal with that after this. Get my money back on that carton of eggs because I'm not paying for that.
I'll have to go out tomorrow and buy more eggs. I'm down to like 2.5 dozen eggs. So
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's low. 2.5
it
dozen is
is.
low for my house, man. And
Yeah,
my
for us
husband just
too.
texted me like, just so you know, I'm gonna start to eat eggs now. So I'm like, all right, I better get a few dozen then.
Because we
So
we try to keep between 5 and 10 dozen in the fridge.
yeah.
So I mean, that sounds insane to so many people too. Like, I keep 10 dozen eggs in the house. You're like,
Yeah.
what? Like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, if I eat eggs, it's probably going to be 6 of them. And then
Mm-hmm.
I make, the girl every day gets 2 eggs in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
she's eating, well, she eats 1, but I make her 2 with the hopes that she'll eat 2. And
Right.
then Chandra gets her eggs in the morning. And then anything we do, there's almost always eggs going along with it. So it's just
Right.
eggs are the cheap part of our meal. And then, whether it's ribeye or ground beef or whatever we found on sale. So,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah,
eggs
I
hold it
it's
all
similar
together.
for me, but I only keep half as much because usually it is just me eating the eggs. But yeah, like I said, my husband's chiming in. He's like, I'm gonna eat like 2 or 3 eggs a day. I'm like, all right, I'll buy an extra dozen or 2 for this week then.
Yeah. So you were on a live just a couple of days ago, and I caught a
Mhm.
little bit of it. And
Okay.
and you were talking about buying cows and,
Oh yeah.
the grass fed, grass finished, and all of that.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's something that I've thought about, but I would want to say, like, as I imagine that more often than not, we're probably going to start seeing where, like, you don't necessarily have to go in with somebody and buy a half a cow. There's probably already somebody that they're working with that only wants half a cow.
Mhm.
Um, and then what we would want, because we don't do roasts, we don't do, and it's weird because over the course of this journey, we've found that pork doesn't necessarily agree with us very much.
Mm.
Bacon we can handle to a certain degree, pork belly to a certain degree, but just like pork chops or like pork loins and stuff, even though they're like $1.29 a pound, they
Mhm.
just they don't settle right with us. And I
Yeah.
think it comes down to the fact that over the course of the last 8 years of us living this lifestyle, we've basically gotten to the point where anything we eat is rare outside of chicken.
Mhm.
So we
Mhm.
eat chicken and beef. Sometimes I'll have other ruminants. Um, Shanda won't eat it. She won't eat lamb. She won't eat bison or anything like that. I
I would
will,
eat
and
bison. I don't like lamb. I just can't. I've tried several times.
there is a flavor with lamb, and sometimes I'm really in the mood for it, and sometimes I'm not. That, like, the other day I was at the grocery and they had their grass fed lamb or whatever on sale,
Mhm.
and it was like $4 a pound, and I thought I could buy a couple of pounds, but I was like, even though that's a good sale, I wasn't feeling it that day, so I didn't buy any. Because usually I
Mm.
probably have a couple pounds in the bottom of the freezer anyway.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, so for us, if the beef is overcooked, like you would cook a roast in, like, say, like the crock pot,
Mhm.
and you shred it up, it's just sits there. Like, we eat it, it just sits and it's heavy and it doesn't seem to
Mm.
digest well, and we just kind of gives us heartburn. It's a weird situation for us. And it's weird that it's for both of us. And it probably is because I've always gravitated towards, starting off medium rare, and then I've even eaten raw meat and stuff like that too. So I think that goes a long way with that. At least that's what I've come up with. I haven't talked to anybody about it or anything like that, but it's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, I for sure prefer medium rare to rare. I will eat a roast. I don't have problems to the extent of you that that you're talking about. I enjoy it, but like not as much as like the medium rare or rare, ribeye or chuck eye, or even when I do like the one roast I do enjoy is my picanha, but I cook that thing, it's pink all the way through when I cook it. So even though it is a roast, the way that I do it, it's pink all the way through, and I do love that. Um, so yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't do a chuck roast very often. That's the thing when you buy the half cow. So what I'm doing, and I don't have it yet, and I've never done it before. So this will be my first, experience with this. But there's a local rancher that's kind of close to where my mom lives, like maybe 15 minutes or so. And they do grass fed, grass finished, and they do grass fed, grain finished, but it's all like sustainably raised with humane practices and all of that stuff. You can go see it anytime, and it's beautiful out there. And I just thought if I can do that, I want to do it. Well, and I plan on doing it more frequently because the price is I don't remember the exact price, but it's like under $7 a pound for this grass-fed, grass-finished beef that I know was, done in a way that's not, hurting the environment or the animals, well, until the end, but you know what I mean? They're living their best cow life out there in the pasture, eating grass and all that. Um, and so, giving back to the earth and the topsoil. And so, yeah, I pay less than that for ground beef, but I pay more than that for ribeyes and picanhas, right? So I'm like, it all kind of evens out, and I'm doing something that I feel good about. But I am sharing that half a cow with my mom and my brother. I do know, like through the high school, like FFA, although I've never done it, like a friend of mine at work could only have room for storing half a cow. And kind of to your point, Dustin, they just found somebody. So it's like they bought it through the FFA program at the high school, and they just found somebody else that wanted just the half beef, and they just matched them up. And so, yeah, that should be ready in April or May of this year. I've emailed the rancher to see if I could nail down a date because I put that deposit down like 3 months ago now. Which I guess the good news is the local rancher's so busy. I've already waited 3 months, and I still have to wait till April or May. So, I mean, that's great, right? Now that I'm in the rotation, I don't know if that I'll always do the half beef like that because to what you said is, I like ground beef, to some extent, but it's not my favorite. And so I'm going to get a ton of ground beef. Now, the nice part is you can customize the amount of fat you want in that ground beef because you're just, you're talking directly to the butcher, and you can have them kind of do custom. I plan to get a little bit of organ, like liver, ground into some of that ground beef, but it's going to be a ton of ground beef, like a lot. Like, I don't exactly know. I'll let everybody know when I find out. We're not splitting it evenly 3 ways because my mom doesn't have that much freezer space, but like I do. I have an extra chest freezer. And my brother, I don't know what he has, but he has more space, like kind of similar to me, or maybe even more for sure. So yeah, we're gonna have the ability to get the liver ground in there. It's gonna be grass fed, grass finished. Not too expensive. I feel like I'm doing something good for the like local economy kind of a thing, and I'm excited about that. But I think in the future, because you can also order like specific things. Of course, when you do that, you're gonna pay more, right? So it's kind of like you gotta weigh your options that way. Um, but yeah, if I can figure out this first order first, then I'll kind of know more what I'm going to continue on with in the future. Just because I haven't received it, I don't really know how much ground beef I'm looking at versus steaks and roasts and that kind of ribs and whatever. I have to kind of look at it and then gauge. And I can't take. I mean, I'm sure my mom and I'll be wrestling for the picanha. We're gonna have to duke it out and see who's gonna get that. That's like my favorite. So I don't really know, what my brother wants. So yeah, you have to kind of share too. But yeah, I'm excited for that and looking forward to it. And seeing what the flavor is like maybe compared to what I've been eating just from
Yeah, it seems like you
wherever.
should be able to get like a sample from them to know like what like I'm gonna
Ooh.
can I get can I get because like I before I pay this $2,000 or whatever it costs,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
Before I pay
mhm,
you $2,000 for half a cow, can I
mhm.
buy like a pound of ground beef and like a New York
Yeah.
strip or whatever, to kind of get an idea of what it's gonna taste like,
Yeah, so
you
what
know?
they have is, like, every other weekend, they have, like, a pickup day. So you can order meat, you can order, like, a smaller box of meat. I don't really know what they are, I don't have them memorized, but you can order ahead of time smaller amounts and then go pick it up, like, every other Saturday, and then, that way, I guess you could taste it. You can also go down there and just see what they have left. So, like, they'll have stuff that, and then if you're just it's kinda first come, first serve, right? Like, whatever's left, you can go buy something. But that's just luck of the draw, what they might have. And I've never done that because it's close to where my mom lives, but my mom lives about an hour from me, so it's a little far for me to do that. Actually, I'm excited because the butcher they use is actually on the north side of me just by about 10 minutes. So that's where I'm going to be able to go. I don't have to go to the ranch to go pick up my meat. You pick it up from the butcher, which is actually very close to my house. So it's actually convenient in that sense.
That's pretty cool. Like, because
Mhm.
it would be nice. So, like, we've got 3 kids. Well, 3 kids and a bonus son, and um, so all of them except for one of our boys lives in the same house, and then the other boy lives in an apartment with some roommates. And it would be nice if we were able to do something like buy the whole cow and divide that up because our middle kid is trying to do more keto because
Mm.
when we went keto in 2016, the boys were still middle school, high school. So they
Okay.
didn't have a choice.
Right.
We weren't bringing in anything that was devastatingly detrimental to our ability to stay on track. We would buy
Mhm.
them like carrot sticks and we would buy them popcorn and stuff like that, which, popcorn's not the most keto friendly food, but it's also not something that is gonna wake you up in the middle of the night like, "Come get me." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I see so often, that parents start this journey and still buy their kids like Fruit Loops and stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and no shade to them. That's they're doing what they're doing, but that would have been a huge thing for me. I would have been like, I want those Fruit Loops,
Mhm.
and so I think if we can, and he saw the benefits. And then when he went to college, that all went out the window.
Right.
And then he's, spending thousands of dollars at Jimmy John's.
Right.
I
Thousands of
mean,
dollars.
it's ridiculous.
Woo.
I think he single handedly kept that Jimmy John's afloat. But
Mhm.
uh, every time he calls, I just had Jimmy John's. I'm like, you got meal plans, and he's like, well, the burger's like $5. I'm like, you could probably work something out. I don't know. I don't. I mean,
Mhm.
but so and I mean, because they were in rugby in school and they trimmed down a lot and they were able to run and do all that stuff. And then they got to the point where they were making all their own decisions and all of that went out the window. And so our middle boy's kind of come back around again. He's going to the gym almost every day and he's trying to eat
Ooh.
better. And so it would be nice if we could buy like the whole cow
Mhm.
and then they, pay us for whatever it is they're going to use.
Mhm.
And then that way they're getting, but then again, at the same time, we've grown so accustomed to like the grocery store meat. So like I went on a quest a couple of months ago. I should have documented it, but I didn't, I mean, who has a YouTube channel, but I should have documented this. But I went through and I tried like every grocery store's frozen burgers, their brand of frozen.
Oh, okay. You should have documented that. I
I
would have
should
watched
have.
that. I would have watched that, Dustin.
I may go
Dang
back
it.
and do it again, even though I
Yeah.
kind of know the outcome, but just to talk about the flavor, the taste, the consistency, because they all vary.
Yeah.
So I found that my favorite, and it probably may be shocking to some, but not shocking to others, was just the Walmart frozen patties
That's what
because
I do.
I was only buying the ones that were just meat,
Mhm.
just listed beef on the label,
Yep.
so there was no at least know alleged funny business. What's in there is, what's really in there. Do we really know? But legally,
Mm-hmm.
they say beef. And I tried all the different flavors at Costco. I didn't buy Kroger's because Kroger wanted like $15 for 3 pounds. And I'm like, that's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Our Kroger affiliates, Ralph's, they're not cheap. I don't even shop there, but yeah.
I do shop at Kroger because they do have good sales on things.
Mm.
And like I used to buy, they'd put their Land O'Lakes butter on sale, and I would get like 20 pounds at like $2 a pound. And there's
Mm-hmm.
ways and times to shop. Because I use an app called Flip.
Yes, I've seen it. I have it,
Yeah.
but I don't use it all the time. There's one particular store that I check and I tend to stock up so it's not like I have to go shopping every week for my stuff. My meat, like I just bought 20 ribeyes a couple weeks ago because they were $7.99 a pound. So and then I mean my husband will have one from time to time, but those are mostly mine. Between that and the burger patties I already had, like I'm good for over a month, so I don't have to be like on top of it all the time like that.
It just kind of gives me something to do to shop. So I
Yeah.
mean, and that and then there's always the times that I forget to pull something out of the freezer. So then I've got
Mhm.
to go buy something.
Mm.
Um,
Well, that's
and I
when
mean,
I do the frozen burger patties, when I forget to pull something out because you can cook those from frozen. So it's like, I guess it's a
yeah.
burger and egg night.
But Chandra is too bougie for frozen burgers. She refuses to eat frozen burger patties.
Oh,
I
oh,
She was
got
like, they
it.
don't taste the same. She won't even eat burger
Mm,
patties from fast food restaurants
got it.
ever. So
Got it. Got it. Got it.
she's special. So, but I make her a lot more chicken because it's easy to cook up
Okay.
a bunch of chicken. Like we got a rotisserie chicken last night from Costco
Hmm.
because by the time we got upset with AT&T and our cell phone service and some of the stuff that we've been dealing with them. So last night there was something in the air, and the guy at T-Mobile was like, he read it on me and was like, "Hey," because they never talked to me at T-Mobile
Okay.
and the little T-Mobile kiosk at Costco. So he's talking to me. I ended up going and getting her, and we ended up signing up for T-Mobile. So we're
I
finally
have
getting rid of our
T-Mobile.
we're getting rid of our grandpa phones. And
Nice.
well, I
Nice.
mean, we buy typically when we do get phones, we get like the flagship best phone.
Okay.
This was the flagship best phone in 2018.
Hmm.
So now we're getting the new Samsung 24 Ultras when they're shipped to our house the day they come out. So
Oh, nice. What day do they come out? I
the
just got the 20.
31st.
Okay. Yeah, like 6 months ago, or yeah, the beginning of the school year, my son needed because he was going to high school. So I finally got him a phone. I mean, I gave him my old phone and then I got the S23 at that time.
Well, that's the thing is like because so we've all been through like one or two screens on our phones
Okay.
in the course of like 5-6 years or whatever.
Mhm, mhm.
And and we've had them replaced, and then she just broke hers again, but we had canceled the insurance on them because they're so old.
Mm.
And the insurance, to keep the insurance, is like if you break it again, we'll just go and upgrade. It'll be time to upgrade anyway. Because I have
Yeah.
trouble with my phone, like making comments on Facebook or on YouTube videos and stuff. It's like a pain to. So yeah, I'm excited to update, and it's got some really cool like
Yay.
AI features and stuff.
Cool.
Um, but yeah, so we're switching over, getting new phones, and then it'll be better cameras, and hopefully it'll help with more content. Even though I've got a new GoPro, and but yeah, so we were at Costco and we were there kind of late, like almost time till they close, and basically got a rotisserie chicken and broke that apart. Made her a lunch. She had some for dinner. I had a bunch for dinner. Put her some for lunch, and that left like just a little bit. I mean, they're big chickens, but you just go through
They
so
are.
much. Chicken is, I don't know. We don't eat a
So,
lot of chicken.
yeah, me neither, but this is what I just did with this chicken. It was so good. So I got the bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs, and I just like salted them with a bunch of, I don't know, because I don't measure, but a bunch of Redmond salt. And then I took a bunch of like a big spoonful of bacon fat out of my little container where I save it, and I got this brush and I just liberally coated those things with that bacon fat. And then I got this new like air fryer appliance that's like a 12-in-1, but like it could air fry. And I've never had an air fryer before. Yeah, so I put them under the air fry setting, and oh my gosh, they were crispy, like a little bit smoky, salty, so good. My intention, because I made 6 of them, was to save a couple for my husband, but I ate all 6. Hey,
So
he wasn't home. What he
when I
doesn't know
cook
is not gonna
chicken
hurt him.
thighs, when I when I cook chicken thighs, I always cook the family pack or half of the
Okay.
Costco package. So, because
Mhm,
Costco, they
mhm.
come with, like, the 2 sides and they're taped together,
Yeah.
and, or I get the one from Walmart or whatever, wherever I get them, wherever they're on sale, and I will cook them butter bob style, which is basically lard in the pan,
Okay.
start them
Yeah.
skin down,
Yeah.
and then you just fry them until they're like KFC crispy.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so
Yeah, and I had
the
done
best.
something similar to that, but I thought one of my subscribers said, "Do yourself a favor," and then said to do what I just said with the bacon fat and air fry, and I tried it and I was like, "Yeah, you were not wrong. That was good."
I'll air fry them to warm them up, but our air fryer is a bigger air fryer than most. It's not one of those like plastic ones.
Yeah,
It's
no,
the
mine's like the
Ninja one that
full
folds
metal.
down, but it's
Mhm.
still kind of shallow. So like
Mm.
the chicken thighs kind of touch the filament.
Oh, that's a
So it
bummer.
kind of they don't quite work the way that I basically use our air fryer like a microwave.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
So
my air fryer's bigger. You can do a rotisserie chicken in there, and it has like a wall, so you can do 2 separate things. If you put this wall in the middle, it has dual controls, and you can cook like one side air fry, one side bake at different temperatures, or you can pull that thing out and use it as one big appliance. It's pretty cool. I got it as a gift. It was expensive, but I didn't pay for it. I got it for Christmas from my in-laws. It's very nice.
the one that we got, I wanted for a long time, and like they have them at Costco and all that stuff, and they were like $200 for. And then we went to so like in the summer, spring, and fall and summer, we go yard selling a lot because
Mm,
we have like an eBay side business thing, and so we go out and we buy stuff and resell it. So
okay.
we pay with for vacations and do everything with that stuff. So um, I went to this one house and they had one sitting there brand new. It wasn't in the box, but look, they may have used it once or twice.
Mhm.
And $20. I was like,
Nice.
it was at the end of the day, we didn't have that much in cash. And I was like, if you hold this for me, we'll be right back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because 'cause you're like, "I need this."
I need this.
Uh-huh.
I was like dancing and
Please
I was
don't
trying
sell
to,
this out from under me.
they were a cute old couple. And I was like, how do you not want this? I was like, I've been wanting one and pointing it out to her. Like I'd have like Christmas lists and it would always be on a Christmas list.
Mhm.
And
Nice.
Shannon always like, you have too many appliances. I mean, I do, but
Yeah, I'm
Deb
gonna have
Olson
to
is here
stop. Hi, Deb. Nice to see you.
and Brett is here.
Oh,
Good
hey,
morning,
Brett.
Brett.
I was just live with him the other day.
He
That was
lives in
fun.
my neck of the woods.
Oh, that's cool. Have you guys
Yeah,
ever
he
met
lives
up?
about
Have
20
you done
minutes
like a
from me.
meetup with Brett?
He came to our October meetup.
Okay, cool.
And let's see. Uh Simpson
Hey,
Johns.
Simpson. I'm the guest, Simpson. This is Justin. Dustin is my guest. Just kidding. I'm Dustin's guest.
I wouldn't have said anything. I mean, we're all friends here.
Absolutely.
Let's see. I had a 2-year-old beard as pro Santa takes the work. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing is I'll get stopped and by older gentlemen in the store. They're like, "You're good. Kids are gonna love you in like 5 years," and I'm like, I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't want kids following me around the store. It'd be weird.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah.
That would be weird.
Good morning, Dee. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Dee.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see if there's any questions in here. Semi-retired Bob is here. Good
Oh,
morning.
hi,
It's
Bob.
11 a.m. for him.
Yeah,
It's almost up to 0.
very close.
Yeah, so
I'm so glad I live where I live for the weather reasons, at least. I'm just so acclimated. I was born here. I could never do it. People talking about salting things, and I'm like, what?
you assault the driveway,
Yeah,
you
I'm
gotta
like,
like
what? Shoveling things and salting things? Yeah, no, there's not a
automatic
thing.
start,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, we don't
know,
have any of that.
telescoping. We got telescoping uh snow brushes for our cars.
Hmm. I have no idea what you are referring to.
Now
Yeah,
we get them on
it's just
clearance, so
yeah, it's
every
just
year.
not part of our existence. Like we just don't do it. Of course, we have, the wildfires and the earthquakes, but
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, we've talked about kinda your generalized diet. So, basically,
Yeah.
you're eating beef,
Mhm.
so a good amount of eggs, you're eating a little bit
Yep.
of poultry,
Yep. A little
um,
pork from time to
yeah,
time. Although if
yeah.
I do eat pork more than one day in a row, like my energy starts to wane. So it doesn't bother my stomach, or make me have heartburn or anything like that. But it's like if I don't throw some beef in there, I'm gonna notice that my energy starts to kind of diminish. So
I
I
was
just have to
talking with
alternate.
Chandra the other day, and, like, how pork bothers us. I was wanting to see if we could find, because I know, like, in Texas and I know, like, Southern Indiana and all these other places where wild boar are a very nuisance animal, they're dangerous, and there's millions of them.
Mm.
I was wondering if, like, a wild, because it only takes, like, 2 or 3 generations for, like, the pig you see at the fair or on around a farm to become a wild boar.
Hmm.
Literally, like, I think it's, like, 3 to 5 generations, and it's, like, the tusks are back and everything.
Yeah,
I was
crazy. Okay.
so I was wondering if it's, you know, farm raised pork that's the problem. I was wanting to see if I need to find, and not just like the little squares of like wild boar or whatever, but I need to get like some actual, like, so if I can get like a wild boar pork belly or something like that and really try it,
Mm.
see, like, wild boar bacon, and see if that has any of the similar impacts. Maybe like a wild boar pork loin. Because one of the things that we used to eat all the time pre keto was just, we would roast a pork loin, you tie it up,
Mhm.
and you just put, a mound of onions on top of it and just roast it in the oven. Now, onions are a little carby, but they're not the end of the world. But um, that's how I look at kind of vegetables a little bit. To, like, I'm not to the point where, like, I'm scared of onions or like red peppers or anything like that. Or, I don't eat them as
Yeah.
often as I used to, but they're not. I'm not worried about it. But I wonder if wild boar would have the same impact on us and her, because it does impact her more than
Hmm.
it does me with the heartburn and such. So, something I'm going to look into and see if there's anywhere I can get some wild, like, actual wild boar that's not
Mhm.
like from, packaged and factory farmed, if you will.
Right.
Uh, so, because you can get, there's stores where, like, they'll package up wild boar patties and stuff, but I'm like, do you really know? I don't, and for our
Yeah.
experiment, I want to know for sure. But I need to reach out and see if there's any um, butcher, or like any farms nearby. I know most are probably going to be more chickens. I also want to try, actually, like, farm raised chickens that are eating, all the bugs and all the stuff and eating what
Mhm.
they're supposed to, and then see, like, how much different that really is to, like, a Costco rotisserie chicken or the chicken thighs that we get from the grocery store.
Yeah, I've started ordering that kind of chicken and pork, although I haven't really tried the pork. Yeah, I guess I did try a pound of the ground pork, but I mixed it in with regular ground beef. I made like a meatloaf that was half ground pork, half ground beef. But I did start buying, pasture raised pork and pasture raised chicken because if I ate that as the main part of my diet, I probably couldn't afford it. But since I only eat it every couple of weeks or month or something, it's like I just feel better about it. So I started ordering that, and I don't know if I've noticed a difference. I don't even know if I have enough pork to be able to do the same experiment. Like, eat that pasture raised pork 3 days in a row and see if my energy tanks like it did on the Costco pork shoulder that I've
Right,
done.
right.
You
I
know?
mean, because, as I run across things like you'll see, there was this thing that a short that I saw last night, or it was a reel or whatever it was, about like resistant starches, like keeping your bread in the freezer, and Steve from Serious Keto's done countless tests with all of the resistant starches, like freeze it and then toast it, and then he'll do the blood glucose tests and all that stuff, and they've
Mhm.
never really gave any conclusive evidence that it actually works, as well for him as they, you would see like in these reels, they'll talk about that kind of stuff, right? Or they're like, well, it's good. Just keep your bread in the freezer and have a balanced diet. And you know that they're not coming from, a keto or a carnivore, obviously, kind of way of looking at it. But that's kind of like I want to know by testing it ourselves how that'll benefit us. And but yeah, so I think you just have to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
A lot of egg talk in the chats. I'm pretty far behind, but and Twin Maples was saying like get the freezer first. Oh, let me see if it'll come up here.
Oh yeah, before buying
There we go.
the
Yeah, we've got
half
2 chest
cow.
freezers in the garage already.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
got to get them empty enough. That's going to be my
I think
challenge.
we've
I'm
got
going to have to make sure.
like a 7 cubic. Yeah, you can get them like Walmart's, or I know Costco's got a stand-up one for like, and it looks almost like a the one at Costco that I've seen is like almost all like it's almost like a big cooler, but it stands
Okay.
up and you open the door and it's got like these clear shelves that are like you close the shelves, so it's almost like a clothes organizer,
Yeah.
but it's a freezer at the same time. So I've seen those, but we've just got 2 chest freezers. We got one on Facebook Marketplace for like $125 a couple of years ago, and then one
Mm-hmm.
of one of my family members was moving in with somebody and they didn't have room for it, so they asked if we could hold on to it till they got their own place. They're probably never going to get their own place, so it's basically just our freezer now.
Yours
And I mean, hopefully
now.
they would give us a notice because it's packed full of stuff.
Clean it out.
But I mean, we would
So the
have to empty
freezer,
ours out.
yeah. The freezer we got is like rated to be able to live in a garage because our garage gets hot. Because in the summer times here, it can get up to, over 100 degrees multiple times or for a week or two on at a time, and sometimes up pretty close to 110, which means our garage is hotter than that. Like, I don't know how hot it is in there, but obviously it's like trapping all that heat and getting even hotter than that. So this freezer that my husband picked out, it was a gift for me from him, but yeah, it's rated to withstand those kind of conditions for at least 5 years. Because I guess it's not really good to just have like I was wondering about that one at Costco that you were just talking about, because I would love to have the organization of those shelves. I'm just
Me
worried that
too.
in that kind of condition, of being 100 and who knows how many degrees out there, like how long it would last, before the motor burned out or whatever.
Yeah, we've never thought about that, but we've had ours for 5+ years now, and they were
Mhm.
used when we got them. So,
Mhm.
and I mean, we get the 100+ degree summers, the negative degree winters. So,
Mhm.
if they can't, I mean, everything stays cold in there, and there's nothing overly freezer burnt or anything like that. We've even had some time of this year where our power was out for like 24 hours at a time, and everything stayed okay. And
Hmm,
so,
that's good.
that's something that I wanna try. I think I have a brick of kangaroo from Jungle Jim's.
Mm.
They have the different kinds of, ground meat. I want some kangaroo steaks one day. That would be one of the reasons I wanna go to Australia. I mean, there's a lot of reasons I wanna go to Australia, a lot of reasons I don't wanna go to Australia, but, I mean, it's far. Like, you're on a plane for, like, the whole day,
Yeah.
and, like, it's like 24 hours unless you
Yeah,
can,
it
like,
is far.
yeah, that might almost be like
Well,
charter a private plane, but
my nephew went hunting and he got a to what you were saying, a boar, but I didn't get any boar meat, but I do have some bear meat and I have what else do I have? Oh, buck. He got a bear, a buck, and a boar, the 3 Bs all in one day with this
Ooh.
hunting thing that he
Is
went
that the
on. And
triple
so
B&E now?
the triple
Triple B&E,
B&E,
boar,
bear, buck, and
bear,
boar.
buck, and elk.
So I have a
Triple
pound
B&E.
of yeah. I have a pound of bear and I have a pound of the buck. And it's just in my freezer. And like I need to get brave and cook it up and eat it. But I
I
told him I
hear
wanted
that
some. I'm like, I want some because I'm a carnivore. I gotta be tasting this stuff.
I hear that black
Selling my
bear is really delicious.
Yeah, it is. It's black bear. They said it was lean, which is why it's ground. So it's like a pound of ground meat. of each kind, and they just said you just have to cook it, like cook it, like well done, cook it.
Yeah, you don't want to get trichinosis.
Right. And so I'm like, all right, will do.
Well, that's the kind of the downside to me of that kind of animal, because like I am more of a, like I said, already a rare
Mm-hmm.
type of, like I don't even like, I can eat my ground beef cold in the middle. I don't care.
Right. Same.
And Chandra gets upset, and she'll put her, like I made steaks the other night because we got Walmart had these what do they call, like what it's basically when you cook for a long time ribeye steaks. What do they call that?
The sous vide?
No, it's like Lowry's is famous for that. Their prime rib.
Oh,
So
I'm
we got
not
a
sure.
boneless prime rib, and I just cut it
Okay.
into ribeye steaks.
Okay.
And then we got those. They were like $7 a pound from Walmart. So I bought
That's
2 of
great.
those and kind of made 8 steaks.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've been frozen in our freezer. So I pull them out, cook them. She's like, "Oh, this is a little too rare for me." And I'm like, "This is perfect." It's like falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And she's like, "Nope." She'll have to put it back in the pan for just a little bit.
Yeah.
She's not quite as rare as me, but she's a lot more rare than she used to be.
When I cook stuff like that, like a roast, I'll definitely cook it rare. And the first time I eat it, like I'm like, this is really rare. But I do it that way because then when my husband gets into it later, he's not going to want it that rare. But at least that way, when he refires it, it's not going to be overdone for him. And even for me later, like if it's a big roast and there's going to be leftovers the next day, even when I refire it a little bit, it's still medium rare. So that's kind of what I've learned to do if I'm cooking a roast like that. That's great that you got that and cut it into steaks. I tried, but mine had bones in it. I couldn't find the space between the bones. I didn't have the patience for that. I'm like, whatever. I just froze it like that and cooked it as a roast. It was delicious. I might try again. A boneless one might be the way to go for me to cut
Oh
steaks out
yeah.
of it, because then
Yep.
you don't have to worry about that.
I'll end up with like a kitchen bandsaw. I mean, that's literally what they have at like meat processing places. There's that's what I need. I
Yep.
need one of those.
Yep. Well,
Uh,
somebody was like, "Hey, Cristie, why didn't you just have the store do it for you?" I'm like, "You're probably right. They probably would have if I just would have taken it to the butcher counter and been like, 'Can you cut this up for me?'" Yeah, because I didn't think of it. Not as smart as some of you.
Erin's here.
Hi, Erin.
And she said she's intrigued with the idea of purchasing a cow, but doesn't have the freezer.
Yes. Erin, you have a basement.
That expensive when you think about how useful they can be.
Yes. She has a basement, Dustin. She does have space for a freezer. She's converting her
And they're not
basement
even
to a
heavy.
gym. And I think she should use a little corner of that basement and stick a freezer in there. Come on,
I
Erin.
agree.
I'm so bossy.
She's got a 25 cubic foot freezer went out. She has one. It
Ooh.
went out. Looking for something to replace it, but having a hard time finding one. 25, like, see, we've got a 7 and a 5, like a 7 cubic foot and a 5 cubic foot. They have small little
Yeah.
footprints. And I think, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like having a 25 cubic foot would be amazing. I think that's
I
about the
would.
same size as our refrigerator.
Yeah, that is. Like, I think that is for sure for me too, the same size as the refrigerator. I don't know how many cubic feet my chest freezer is because I didn't purchase it. I don't think about it. I just, it's just out there and I just use it. I should probably look at that so I can let you guys know. But it holds quite a bit out there. And it's nice because like you said, Dustin, it has a small footprint. We only have a 2-car garage and we do park 2 cars in it. So it's just like a very narrow band of space up and down the walls where we can put things like a freezer.
Yeah,
But
we've
it
got a
fits there
2-car garage.
perfectly.
Only
Yeah.
one car fits in it.
No, we
My
do
car
get
sits in the driveway.
yeah, we get both our cars. I mean, my husband has a big truck that is for sure not going to fit in there, but 2 smaller cars will fit in there. I mean, we can't really open all the doors. We have to back the car out to like let passengers in, but at least they can park in there sheltered, because we do put the like shelving and whatever. But yeah, I don't think I could fit a freezer where the door open like this because it would for sure hit the car. And with the chest freezer, because the lid flips up, that's one benefit to that
Well,
one.
then the thing for us is I end up storing stuff on it. Like especially right now for us, our garage is like a second refrigerator.
Mm.
So we've got
Yeah,
like
because yeah.
stacks
because it's
of
cold where you live.
beverages and stuff like
Uh-huh.
sodas and stuff sitting on the freezer. So if I want to get into it, I've got to like spend 5 minutes moving stuff and setting it around, and then I've got to put it back.
That's a pain.
Yeah. So then the thing with the chest freezer, if you're unorganized like me, then you're digging around trying to find what you're looking for and pulling more stuff out. And then you got to put it
Yep.
all back. And it's like a weird game of Jenga
It is.
or Tetris rather, because you got to put it
Tetris.
all back.
Yeah, that's how ours is. It's for sure not organized. I'm not an organized kind of person. I'm just throw it in there. When I get it, I just throw it in there. I know that I should pull up the picanhas that are already frozen, put them to the top, and put the new one underneath. But do you think I do that?
I can't
I
even
don't.
I can't even get
It's bad.
I do all the grocery shopping and doing all the putting away of the groceries most of the time. So, in the fridge, I'm pulling out the old heavy cream to put it out front of the new heavy. I mean,
Mhm.
realistically, we go through so much heavy cream that, I mean, they're good for like 2 months, 3 months,
Yeah, they are.
and we never
Yeah.
get anywhere close to that date.
Mhm.
But I mean, so it wouldn't really matter, but then that one will get left in the corner,
Right.
if I don't. But
Yes.
yeah. So
No, I
I
hear
do all
that.
of that and putting things around, like, so I know where everything is, like, so I know in our fridge or the freezer that's in our refrigerator is the one on the bottom, and that's like when we first bought the fridge, I was like, I don't know how that's bigger than like the ones at the top, but
Mhm.
surprisingly, they're huge.
Mhm.
Except like sometimes like it's like that like those coin machines where you put the coins in and it pushes the coins out. Sometimes
Yeah.
if I put something just too tall and I go to open
Yep.
the freezer, it goes right behind, and I
Yep.
gotta like get on the ground and like put my arm
Yep.
all the way back there. And
Oh,
I'm
I've
afraid
been there. I've been there. That's how our freezer is too. Yep.
and I'm
It's
afraid
funny.
every time I open it, one of our cats goes and looks. I'm like, you're gonna get stuck back there,
Yep. Don't
and
do it,
I'm not gonna
cat.
know how to get you out.
Don't do it, cat.
He's
Yeah.
like, "What? Well, can I get stuck in there?" Like, he
But
got
there's a
outside the other
space.
day, and I'm like, "You're not gonna wanna be out here long."
It's cold.
Yeah.
It's not cold enough to deter Pixel. She escaped the other night, and my son said he was out there for a good 10 minutes trying to catch her. It was because it
Well,
was
our
dark,
cat
and he couldn't see her, and she's kinda dark in color too, and then she was, all, running away all crazy. She didn't calm down till he couldn't find her. He couldn't find her for a long time, so then she relaxed, like, "Oh, no one's chasing me anymore," and then that's when he finally saw her and got her. Mhm.
Joe says that, when they got a half cow, they ended up with 94 pounds of ground beef,
Oh, okay.
lots of steaks, and they like roast, but
Okay.
you cut those up, all the bones and tallow. Yeah, that would be
All the
like
bones and tallow, I'm excited for that, yes.
I didn't see Big Bob, but she says, "Hi, Big Bob." I don't know if I saw his actual post, so we'll say hi to Big Bob.
Hello, Big Bob.
Let's see. There's a grass-fed finished ranch near me that I need to contact for beef. Don't have enough grays for raising my own yet. Yeah, I don't think our HOA would like cows. I think
Yeah.
you can have a couple. I think I've seen people have a couple of chickens, but I don't necessarily know if I want to grow my own chickens.
Yeah, I'm with you, Dustin. I'm a little bit I don't know.
I'm
I
too
a fri
city boy for that.
Same.
I
There's a friend of
literally,
mine
yeah. Go ahead.
There's a friend of mine that I work with that has a few backyard chickens, and when she has extra eggs, she'll just bring them and give them away. So I'm like, sweet. So I take those whenever she brings those in. But otherwise, I mean, and she lives just a few blocks that way. I hear roosters around here, so I know people have some chickens. But I don't think I'm that kind of temperament to go out there and feed the chickens and I don't know, do all the chicken things, whatever those are.
Like even for me, like living in the house now, I grew up in apartments, so I never had to mow my own grass.
Right.
I never had to like we were on the second floor. We had a balcony. I didn't have to mow
Mhm.
anything. I didn't have to. And if anything went wrong, we called the maintenance guy, and he did all
Right.
it. You know what I mean? Like I've always lived in apartments until living with Chandra in the house, and so I've had to kind of learn a lot of stuff. Like, okay, now what? Okay, and I got to mow the
Mhm.
grass. I've learned that I hate mowing grass. It's like our yard is big enough to kind of warrant a riding mower, but not really because we've got too many
Right.
low hanging trees, and I'd just be knocking
Okay.
myself.
Okay, okay.
So I don't
Yeah.
like
No,
mowing the grass.
no. We don't even have any grass anymore because they charge too much for water where we are.
Well, that's not the issue for us because we don't water our grass. I mean, we
Mhm.
get enough. I mean, if it doesn't rain enough, the grass dies, and I don't care. I mean, our HOA probably cares, but they get mad about
Yeah.
dandelions, and I'm like, they're beautiful until they're not.
Yeah,
But
it for sure does not rain enough here to sustain grass. We're practically a desert, so you have to water it if you wanna keep it, and it was just costing way too much, so we ripped it all out.
pea gravel, that's what I want.
Pea gravel. We have I don't know, we have, like, lava rock in some parts and some mulch areas, and I don't know. I didn't do it.
'Cause I don't know. I know I used to have friends that lived in like Phoenix, Arizona,
Mhm.
and they had grassy backyard because they had like citrus trees, but like almost everybody's front yard was like pea gravel with cactus and all that stuff. And I was like, that's what I want. Cactus at the front door, don't knock.
Yes. Yes. Cactus. I do like cactus. Our neighbors have one. It was covered in bees one day. That was freaky. It was when I was doing my sprint challenge. So, because they bloom like once a year, these cactus with these flowers. And I was like sprinting by and I heard this. I thought it was electrical. I'm like, what the heck is that electrical buzzing? It was like buzzing and their garage was kind of open. So I thought maybe they had like a treadmill or I don't know. And then I discovered it was like hundreds and hundreds of bees, like all buzzing together. It was crazy. Then I
Mm.
didn't get too close after that. I was like, wow.
Well, because so if they were blooming, then yeah, that
Yeah.
seems that they're just going to go while they can.
Yep. So it was maybe 4 or 5 days while the flowers were on that cactus, and it was just like covered in bees, and then off they went. But yeah.
Let's see what we've got here.
Yes, a swarm of bees, twin maples. Yes, I caught it on I vlogged it and I was like, I'm not gonna get too close, but I'm gonna zoom in. It was like just bees everywhere. I was like, okay, I guess I thought it was electricity, but it wasn't. It was bees.
What I have been doing is slicing bits of beef into the shape of leaves and using that as my salad base, and then adding some chicken.
I mean, that's hilarious, but that's a lot of work. But that's funny
Right?
though. Like, I want a picture of that. You got to
Tag
put a
us on
picture of
Instagram
that.
if you have one, and we want to see what it looks
Yes,
like.
100%.
Use the beef from uncooked beef. That might be a little bit about the globulin. Globulin is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I use bacon for everything. Bacon fat. I actually use bacon fat as coffee creamer substitute. I've heard that's not as crazy as it sounds. I don't know if I would want bacon flavored coffee, but
I don't know. I haven't tried it. I didn't really like the butter in the coffee either because to me, you have to drink it like quickly. I don't know. I've never been a fan.
that was a huge thing. And I know I've talked about this before, so I'll touch on it just briefly. But in my beginning of my keto journey, when I was over 400 pounds, I was drinking a coffee this size, about 30, 32 ounces. And I
Mhm.
was putting a half stick of butter and like 6 to 8 tablespoons of coconut oil in it every day. And then mixing that, like, then I would pour the coffee in, use an immersion blender, get it all
Mhm.
frothy, then fill the rest of the way up. And I would drink on that for like half the day. So all that fat with like
Mhm.
little to no carbs, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then I would make my lunch, which was the easiest stuff that I could make at the time. And that was like boiled eggs, lunch meat, string cheese, dip everything in mustard, you
Mhm.
know, and that was really a big. I want to attribute that coffee to my success because I know why a lot of people shun that, like, that's you're drinking all your calories. But as a person who was over 400 pounds, I needed anything that I could to make me successful. And like, even though I didn't really know that I was doing it or like the mechanism behind why it worked at the time, I think because that was like 1,100 calories in a coffee,
Mhm.
but no sugar.
Right.
So I was drinking, you figure how many calories is like one of those large Dunkin' coffees? It's 200 grams of carbs, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's a ton of calories, but then you're getting the sugar on top of it. I wasn't getting the sugar, just the pure fat. and people thought I was insane. And it didn't taste bad. It actually tasted really good to me.
Hmm.
And so even now when I talk about it, like, because the whole butter fat coffee has kind of like gone very out of fashion and people like
Mhm.
scoff at it. But I'm here because of it. Do I
Yeah.
drink it now? No, but I think it was a catalyst for me to be successful. So,
Yeah.
you know, and I even now, like I put a little bit of pat of butter in Chandra's coffee and a little bit of MCT oil, um, because it helps, not TMI or whatever, but it helps keeps thing, going because she gets, whatever. But so she
Mhm.
has me do that, and then I do put iodine drops in our coffee every morning. So
Yeah, I forgot my iodine today. I'm gonna have to put them in my bone broth or something. I'm like, "Dang it. I've been so good about it."
I just leave it sitting right next to the coffee machine.
I need to
Otherwise,
do
because if
that.
I yeah, because I'll forget.
Mhm. I know, and I've been really good. I don't think I've forgotten, but I did forget today. I need to get them in somehow.
But yeah, so let's see. I cook ground pork and beef
Yes.
together.
Yes, it was good when I did it was like half beef, half ground pork in like a meatloaf. It was really good. It gave it a different I don't know, it was good. It's hard to explain, but yeah, like a different flavor to it, a different I don't know, it seemed like I don't know that the pork was more fatty, but it seemed fattier, more mellow or something. I don't know. It was good.
Well, then again, the problem for me mixing in pork with the ground beef is I eat my ground beef very rare, so then I would have to overcook
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah,
I
you
think,
can't.
that's part of the issue. Um,
Mhm.
a neighbor a couple of months ago, maybe a year, I don't know time anymore, I don't know, but he made these like they're almost like pork ribeye on the
Oh,
grill, and
okay.
he was like, "Here, try a bite," and he gave me like a slice, and it was like some of the best pork I've ever had. But I was like, I don't want to go and buy a bunch of that because if it still causes her issues, even though how delicious it was,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah,
But I
then
mean, it
you're
was
stuck.
like, yeah, because most of the time pork gets so dry. This was like
Mhm.
super fatty and good.
Yeah, a lot of pork is dry, but when I do like the pork shoulder in the crock pot, I do like it that way. It's not dry at all. And then, like I said, the ground pork. Those are the two way, and then bacon. um, but as far as and I did make a pork belly once. I have some more. I'm gonna try to get it crispier than I did the first time. I don't know what I'm doing. People don't eat that stuff out here. Pork belly, that's like not a thing that
Oh,
people eat
so
in Southern
good.
California. So I'll do it. I'll cook it better the second time. But the first time, even though I didn't really get it super crispy, it was like what I wish a pork chop was. Like this is how a pork chop should be. Because like
Oh
pork
yeah.
chops like super dry and gross. I've never liked them. I don't know if they've
Hmm.
just always been overcooked or whatever, but this pork belly, yeah, it's like what I thought a pork chop should be like when I ate it. I
The
did
first
enjoy
time I
it.
ever cooked a pork belly, I did it when we were on vacation. We had just gone keto about we'd been keto about a year, and we went to Colorado to visit
Hmm.
Chandra's sister, and we went to her Costco, and because we weren't members at Costco yet, so we went to her Costco and they had pork belly, and I picked up the thing with like like the couple of strips in it they have, and I
Hmm.
was like, oh wait, they have a whole pork belly, and I'm like, well, there's like five of us, and I was like, okay, I had never cooked a pork belly before. But luckily at our Airbnb, they had like a roasting pan, and I put it in a roasting pan, and I cut a bunch of holes in it, and I seasoned it, and then I just baked it in the oven until it got brown. And then what I did was cut it all up after we had what we wanted to eat. It was so tender and amazing, like you're saying, like what a pork chop should be.
Hmm.
And then what I did the next morning is I cut a bunch of it up, and I into little cubes, and I fried them till they were like basically I call them keto home fries. Because
Ooh,
these
that
little
sounds good.
cubes of crispy, delicious, oh, so good.
Hmm.
So that and eggs, so good.
Yeah, that's what I did with the leftovers the next day. So I did get the leftover pork belly nice and crispy, like little cubes, like you said, with some eggs. Yeah, that was delicious. Now I wish that pork belly was unthawed. I did buy some more. It's frozen though.
My metamorphosis says good morning.
Hi, Carrie.
Um, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but it says we've got a ton of wild boars here in Florida. Please come and get them. They're a nuisance. Yeah, I wonder like if they're just like eradicating them or trying to eradicate them, because I know that they can have 3 litters a year, like up to 3 litters a year. So that's how they can just go and just kind of like python in Florida as well. But
Mhm.
yeah, I need to start looking up to see like, because I would order a whole one depending on how much they weigh and how much room it would take up. I would order them if it was something that we could eat that wasn't upsetting and didn't cause distress and heartburn and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dustin, you can find forest raised pork source. Factory farm pork is pale white and very low nutrient levels compared to the ones I've raised. Yeah, that was my thought, is that like all the pork you're gonna get in the grocery store, I mean, they just feed them whatever.
Mm.
Probably a lot of soy, a lot of corn, so they're nice and fat, but they're not eating like, it's like when you see at the grocery store like all the chicken says vegetarian raised.
Yeah,
That's not what a
no.
chicken eats. And I
Mm-mm.
was and I had the argument too that while pigs and wild boars aren't necessarily huge meat eaters, they will eat whatever they kind of come across. I mean, I know they're more foragers than they
Mhm.
are hunters, but they'll eat whatever they come across. Because like if the farmer falls into the pig pen and can't get back up, you're probably not going to find the farmer. But
Right.
yeah, sad but true. Life feeds on life. And then let's see. Yeah, so I'm just really curious about that. Like, I just want to get the pork because I mean, I miss pork, but I don't. I mean, obviously, it doesn't do us very well, so we don't eat it. But
Yeah.
um, so I mean, because of your live the other day, I've thought about doing the whole cow, but getting
Yeah.
Shander on board with grass fed, grass finished, because she's like, I don't notice, I don't taste a difference. I don't know, like the same thing with like regular TV and HD TV. She doesn't notice a difference, and I'm like, there is a difference in all of it.
Well, like I said, my local rancher does do grass-fed grain finished, and I think it's a little less expensive. It was less sought after because if I had ordered that, I could have gotten it like a month or two sooner. And personally, I would have been okay with that, but my brother was like he really wanted the grass finish. I was like, all right, cool. So we went with that. But I mean, but at the same time, it's still, sustainably raised. It's not like a factory farm kind of operation. And then I'm pretty sure the prices are a little bit less too. But you're still getting the benefits of something that's a humanely raised, good for the environment kind of situation. So I don't know, maybe that's something she could get on board with.
Yeah, and I mean, depending on the cost difference, and I would want to talk to the farmer or whatever and say,
Mhm.
are you feeding a bunch of soy, or I mean, because I mean, if you ever watch, there's a show on like Discovery. It's like Dr. Pole.
Mhm.
He's like this country veterinarian guy, and
Yeah,
they're
I've
always
seen it.
going out. All the grass fed, all the grain fed cows have to get that. They'll get they'll get that bloat, and you have to go in and like pop them like a balloon and
Mhm.
let the gas out.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Mhm.
that's just to me like a evident that obviously that's not what a cow's supposed to eat.
Right. Right.
And I think, that's kind of like you can't see the forest for the trees, because you're like, well, that's just how we do it. Like, but why? Or like when you see like a dog and like the dog's got all that pink, and like all the
Mhm.
all the skin all the skin showing is all pink, and they're scratching all the time. It's like you're feeding them stuff they don't like. Their bodies doesn't like it. I mean, and
Yeah.
we were bad with our cats at first. For years we fed them the cheap kitten food, or the cheap cat food. Now we pay a lot of money. We pay
Yeah.
like we went from paying like $17 for a 35-pound bag of food to $70 for a 12-pound bag of food. So
Yep.
that's, most days they eat better than we do.
Yep. I know. I know. It's the same with my cat. Oh my gosh. Hey, Evelyn has a question for me at 9:50, Dustin, if you wanted to
Okay, yeah,
put
let
that
me
up
see if I
there.
can find it here. 9:50 for you. What time is that for me?
12:50.
1250. Okay. I
I'll
should
do the
know.
math.
Thank you.
I'm not teaching today, but I'll do the math.
I'm trying to get there. Let's see. Yeah, I am way farther behind than I thought here. Pursuit of Bliss is here. Thank you for joining us. And
Hello. There it is.
Evelyn says, Cristie, do you use electrolytes or supplements? And basically, if so, which ones?
Yeah, great question. So when I first kind of went carnivore, I was not doing any electrolytes or supplements. And then I started noticing this occasional headache that was different from the migraines I used to get, which, by the way, I don't get anymore. It was kind of like in the middle of my head and like this weird headache. And then I started getting some like nighttime leg cramps. And so I did start on Element. The one time I did, and it's been a while, so maybe I need to try again, trying to back off some of that, but just to see, because it's not cheap. But again, I'm lazy. I'm not gonna make my own. I know I could make my own for a lot cheaper. I'm just probably not gonna. Uh, so yeah, so I do Element, and honestly, I do enjoy it. So I do the chocolate salt, so I don't do the unflavored. So if that makes me a ketovore, you can call me that. I'm not big on the labels, but I do like the Element chocolate salt in my coffee. And then I do take iodine, 2 drops in that said coffee each day. And I will, when I remember, take my vitamin D, because when I had blood work done a few months ago, my vitamin D was a little low. And at that time, we were just going into winter, so I knew I probably wasn't going to get a lot of sun, to kind of boost that up. So I did start back up on a vitamin D supplement, but I like to what Dustin said earlier, I really should just leave it out on the counter so I remember to do it. And that's pretty much it as far as that goes. I should probably back off on the electrolytes and just see, because I do salt my food to taste, and I feel like almost the amount of salt that I enjoy is kind of slowly gone up. So maybe I don't know if I even still need it, but I just like the taste of it now in the coffee. So yeah. How
That's
about
a
you,
great
Dustin?
question. Yeah, for me, so I use kind of a mix. So I have like calcium supplement that I use. It's got vitamin D in it.
Mm,
Um, however much that is bioavailable, I'm not sure, but I know if I'm low on electrolytes, I can tell, because I kind of
mm,
get run down. My mood's affected. Um, I'm a little more lethargic. So I have like actual physical pill supplements that I take. Um, I just have some of the cheap stuff that I can get from Walmart. I know I want to try like the Keto Chow has, an electrolyte pill that I'd like to try. I had a bottle of them, but I I never got a chance to open them, but a friend of mine is battling cancer and she needed to up her electrolytes, but with the chemo and all the drugs and everything that they were giving her, the salt flavor made her ill, like physically ill, like sick. She couldn't do it. So I gave her those supplements and I just haven't replaced them because I was like, she needs them more than I do.
mm-hmm,
And so I just haven't had a chance to replace them. And I've got the calcium and I've got magnesium, and I did get a magnesium supplement off of Amazon. It's not the cleanest. It's got some rice powder or whatever and it holds it all together. Um, so it's not super clean, but it's got like the 5 different types of magnesium, um, and potassium, obviously. I'm actually going to be recording a video this week kind of outlining like the top things that, like, because a lot of people don't even really know what electrolytes are. They use the word electrolyte, but they're not quite sure what that means. And I'm going to break it down with all the different kind of minerals that go to make up common electrolytes and kind of what they're for. Um, hopefully to keep it short and not super long, because I know that drives me nuts. Um, but yeah, so that's for me. And then I also utilize, I have some salty that I have. We're going to be making little short videos to talk about how how those flavors are, because I've used all the clean that I had, or the clean slate. Because you said that you weren't a fan of the unflavored. I really like the unflavored electrolytes, like both Element and Salty. I found them to taste basically the same.
okay.
And I can
And you
drink
just put them
those.
in water? You just put that in
Yeah.
water? Man,
Uh-huh.
yeah, no. I do it in bone broth. If I have like an unflavored, I'll add it to my bone broth and do it that way. I do like
That'd be a
that,
good
but
thing to do, yeah. But
just
I'll
in
just put it in
water.
the cold water and throw it back, and I'll drink it, and it doesn't
Mm.
bother me. It's not overly salty that you would think. Um, it just I don't know. It almost tastes like milk to me, weirdly enough. So I mean, that might be. I mean, that's just how it kind of feels to me. But I don't know how you would, how it is for you. But so I utilize a little bit of that, and we do keep the liquid IV sugar free in the house that you can get from Costco
Mhm.
because it's on sale right now, like 24 sticks for $20. And Chandra likes that, and she will drink that. And it is hard for her to find ones that she likes. So if we find something that she likes, we buy it until they discontinue it.
Got it.
That seems to be the way that it goes.
Yeah, I've
But
kind of gotten the sense that she's a little more picky than you are
yeah,
with certain
I mean,
things and
I'm picky in
videos
my
I've
own
watched
right.
of the 2 of you and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'm picky in my own right, but not quite as picky as she is. Like,
Yeah.
we're always on the hunt for her coffee flavoring and stuff because when it's the ones she likes, they stop making, and it's
Oh,
a whole
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Good morning, Courtney. Thank you for being here, dear. I
Hey,
appreciate you.
Courtney.
And yeah, so like for me, just let's see. Here's another question.
So a long time ago, I watched a Dr. Barry video. I mean, a long time ago, because I don't watch a lot anymore unless he interviews somebody. So we're talking back in February, March when I was like watching all of his videos. I have whatever the vitamin D, not the one with the K2, because I already had it. Like I already had it in the house and I went and looked at it. I didn't look. I mean, I'd have to go look at the bottle. I don't think so. I don't think it has soybean. It has a little bit of like olive oil in there since vitamin D is like fat soluble. I don't think it has soy though. But it was like Dr. Burry was like either this one with K2, I think he said, or like this one's okay. And he mentioned that it had a little bit of olive oil in there to help you absorb the vitamin D better. But I don't think there's soy. But again, I'd have to go look.
Bruce Kahn is here. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Once you label me, you negate me, Kierkegaard. And that's the thing, like for me and labels, like, am I key? I mean, I think for most of us, we fall under that keto label, right?
Yeah.
Keto's kind of the arch, the overlying arch. Then you've got carnivore, ketovore, whatever you want to, whether
Mm.
you're vegan, keto, or whatever. We all kind of
Mm-hmm.
like, if you're eating low carb, chances are if you're eating low enough carb, you're going to be in ketosis at least some of the time. So that would
Mm-hmm.
to me be kind of like whether you're chasing the ketones or not, or even care. Because I don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily care anymore, but I can tell, when I'm off and when I'm on, so to speak, like with electrolytes. I can tell. Like if I don't get enough magnesium, it affects my sleep. So, little things like that. And I think that's what's the most important piece of this puzzle is not what you call me, not what I'm trying to sell myself as.
Mm-hmm.
I try to be as open and honest as possible and say, I mean, I'm an imperfect person and I'm trying to do the best I can by myself, for myself, so to speak. But in with that, there's going to be, I mean, a lot of times I might be carnivore for, a bulk of the time. And then I still want to have broccoli sometimes, or if I feel like it, I'm going to have it, or whatever the case is. If we want to go out to Outback and have a bloomin' onion, okay. You know what I mean? We're all grown-ups. We're all adults. We're all in charge of our own health. And we know or at least most of us are in the process of learning what's best for us, because that's the hardest part is finding out what
Mm.
is best and what works for us as the individual. So that's where labels to me in this whole thing, like I'll see somebody say something like carnivore is is the way. I mean, maybe, but it's not sustainable for everybody. It's like, I don't know if you're familiar with Joe saying, from Two Crazy Keto saying like he likes being carnivore, but it's not sustainable for him.
Mm.
You remove, it's like when people try doing triple B&E as a challenge, it may not be sustainable, but on a normal basis, that might be what you gravitate towards. But as soon as you add that restriction that you can't have that cheese on Tuesday, then it becomes unsustainable. So
Hmm.
here's another question here from Evelyn. Evelyn's awesome.
This is a
Um,
great question because I'm going through something with this right now. Oh my gosh. I just recorded the wrap up video to my week 2 of exactly what Evelyn is talking about, and I haven't like edited the week 2 vlog yet. I don't know when I'll get to that because I have the wedding today. I think it's going to be the most like down anyone's ever seen me. I couldn't muster up the energy. Okay, here's what's happening, Evelyn. So I have not tried prior to the last 2 weeks, and since kind of getting off keto and just again not through any choice, just like laziness or whatever, and I just enjoyed the meat, and then pretty soon I had all the other like energy benefits and mental benefits and all of that I talked about a little earlier. I didn't really track after that. I just stopped because I knew that I wasn't getting anywhere near 20 carbs. So like, why bother, right? It's a lot of work to track. And then I interviewed Coach Bronson and on my channel, which was a great interview. And I like kind of made a decision that I was going to get more like intentional with like my workouts. And then was something that he talked about, which is women my age, and I am 48. But women my age need to make sure that they're getting, enough protein. And then he told me what enough protein is, at least to start, right? Not that it would be perfect for everyone, but like this is a good starting point, and then you might need to tweak some things. And what he said to that was that it's like your lean body mass. So whatever your lean body mass is in pounds, it's that much protein and then that much fat, like a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio, he called it. And try not to do like the 60-40s or the 70-30s, that kind of thing, because your body doesn't really know what that is, but like base it off of your lean body mass. And then also he gave the caveat to that if you're a woman and you're like, if your lean body mass is too close to 100 pounds or even under 100, he doesn't want, you eating under 100 grams of protein. So like that was kind of like a floor, like no lower than that. And so 2 weeks ago, I started doing that, and I started doing like definitely like, leg day and like upper body day and rest day and doing all the stuff. And I've been consistent with that, with the lifting and increasing the weights and the reps, as I've been going. And then I did start tracking to that protein goal that he was talking about. So like day 1 of tracking, I had no idea. Similar to when I started keto and I really didn't know what 20 total carbs looked like. Similar to that, I've just been eating to satiety. So like, I don't know what 100 grams or 120 grams or whatever of protein looks like, or how many grams of fat I was even eating. So the first day I just sort of put everything in and I was like, oh, well, my fat is good. But my protein, even though I'm eating a ribeye or whatever, was a little low. And so to try to increase the protein while not really increasing the fat, not that I'm concerned about fat, it was just, to eat to those macros that he suggested. I didn't really need to add more fat, but I did need to add some more protein. So I started adding in like a can of salmon at lunch. And the first week I added in like a scoop or a half a scoop of the Equip protein, which is just beef isolate protein. I wasn't doing the unflavored. I was doing like the cocoa. So it's like a little cocoa powder. It's chocolate, a little cocoa powder, the beef isolate protein, and a little stevia. Pretty clean. Yeah. So the first week I did that. So I wasn't in, I don't count calories, but like if you want to put it in that, like the calories I added, I think the can of salmon has around 90 calories ish. And the scoop is like 100 calories, or half scoop 50 calories. So we're not talking a lot of calories by any stretch that I added. And it was just to get those protein grams, up where he kind of recommended. Yeah, I for sure put on 3 pounds in week 1 and then another 3 pounds in week 2. Which is making me feel I'm not feeling great. And some of that is because the reason I kind of wanted to change things up in the first place is I had already kind of slowly been gaining, like slowly a pound here, a pound there over 3 months, And it was like, well, let me try to tweak something to see maybe what's going on, or if I can, help myself. And what I felt like it's been doing, at least in the last 2 weeks, is like just accelerated that weight gain. Which was not what I was intending. So there you go. Coach Bronson recommended if you're trying anything to try it for 6 weeks, right? Before you discard it or change it or decide that it's good or bad or what have you. But I'm telling you, if I gain 3 pounds this week, because today would be the first day of week 3, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it for 6 weeks.
Are you taking
So
measurements?
yeah, my measurements are increasing. I talked about that in my vlog. So in the last couple of weeks, I don't gain weight in the waist. I gain weight in the hip, or I don't gain girth. I'm pear shaped, so my waist generally stays slim. And if I'm going to put it on anywhere, it's going to be the hips and my hips, because hips are supposed to be the widest part of you. For me, that's like my upper thighs. So like the uppermost part of my thighs is the widest part of me. And I for sure put on inches there, like 2. But I mean, not just in the last 2 weeks, but I mean, since like October, when like the slow weight gain started, I've put on a couple inches. In the last 2 weeks, I didn't put on anything in the hips, but I put on like 3/4 of an inch in the waist. And that never happens. Never. And I'm feeling real puffy in the waist because I'm not used to that.
Could that be the the protein powder kind of doing that,
Yeah.
making you
So
a little bloaty?
maybe the second week I took it out just because my grams of protein were fine. I did get the ribeye on sale. So I like upped I ate the ribeye, which gave me enough protein without that. And my protein grams, I forget what it was now. I looked at it. It was like my lowest day was like 105 grams of protein and my highest day was like 147 or something like that. So it was like within that range. Whereas prior to that, I don't think I was quite hitting 100. But I haven't. So the only thing I changed was I added the salmon and I added the protein powder. But the second week, I didn't have any protein powder. And not because I thought that was the problem, but just because I try to think about like ahead of time, because I don't want to track throughout the day and then go, oh shoot, I'm over or I don't have enough, and then try to catch up or whatever. So I think about what I'm going to eat for the day, put it in the morning, see what it's going to be, and then either add something or subtract something at that time, and then I kind of plan day by day, and I put it in the morning to make sure that I'm going to be good.
Like, so that would be something that I would do, is I wouldn't necessarily worry about calories as much as, yeah, I mean, I know because there's like camp calories and camp calories don't matter and camp SARM calories matter. And it's a very confusing, very convoluted argument. I don't think any one is right.
Right.
And I don't think anyone is actually, necessarily wrong. But I think that if you're looking at like, so for someone like me, I'm not quite sure what my lean body mass is, but I imagine it's probably 150 to 200 pounds, somewhere in that 150, 200 pound mark, probably 180 pounds. I imagine if I got down to 180 pounds, I would look very emaciated. I mean, considering I've been probably above 250 a majority of my life. Since I got there, I haven't gone back. So, as soon as I hit 250, like probably high school, I haven't been back. So, I imagine that's kind of how I look at it. I look at, okay, how much, if I'm going to probably eat a lot of ground beef and chicken and eggs this week, how much, what's that look like for protein? And then I'm going to add fat to cook the eggs. I'm probably going to eat some of the fat that comes out of the burger, because I'm going to pour a little bit over. I may not pour all of it over, or whatever, the chicken. And then I would just kind of calculate how much that is, and then just kind of eat that as the starting point. And if I'm still hungry, just eat more, because I'm just going to get more protein.
Right.
So that's what I kind of try to do. Some days I probably don't get anywhere near as much protein as I need, because I just didn't eat as much. Some probably get way more. Because I mean, realistically, I don't necessarily worry about me anymore. I worry about our girl, because she isn't. I kind of wish I had the same problem sort of as she does, where she will not eat. She refuses to eat anything. Like we get her these cheese puffs. They're terrible, and I know it, but they're kind of leverage to get her to eat other stuff. Because she won't eat if we want her to eat her eggs and her cottage cheese, and we want her to eat, all, the things that she should eat as a child. you leverage that with some, with the cheese balls, because she won't eat. She can just go without eating for most of it. She doesn't care. She'd rather
Mhm.
play and dress up and do all that stuff. Anything besides eating, because eating is a chore for her. And,
Mhm.
and I was funny because I saw that like the recommended amount of protein for a kid her age is like 18 grams of protein a day. And I
Not
was
enough.
like,
That's not
what?
enough.
That's like 3 eggs and that's it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not a healthcare professional or a doctor or anything like that.
No,
So I
me
wouldn't
neither,
recommend
but
any of that stuff. But I would say that like it's got to be more than 18.
right. I think so too, and I'm not any kind of medical professional either, but
I mean, we're probably lucky to get her to eat 18,
mhm.
but hopefully that, But yeah, so
Yeah. Well, talking about that, I'm going to be going on a live with Cammie at Last Day of Normal because we both have older. I mean, her daughter is 10 and my sons are 15 and 18. They're not a baby in a high chair where you can go, here's your food, and it's like your eggs and whatever. They've been eating a certain way for all this time. So it's been more of a process. But like looking back on it, I'm like super happy, like with the progress. I mean, it's nowhere near perfect, but it's a lot better than it used to be. I started with dinners, and especially my younger son. I mean, he asked me to make a meatloaf. That meatloaf was good. Can you make one again? I was like, all right, let's go. um, yeah, my next thing is to start tackling breakfast, and adding more like eggs and things like that for them.
yeah,
But
so like
it's more of a process because like my 18-year-old is like technically an adult, right? Like
technically, right?
Ah, yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna talk about that and how that it's a much more nuanced and lengthy transition for sure.
Yeah, so for like the middle boy has been calling me as of late, asking me questions and like, trying to get shopping advice from
Mm,
me on how to shop according to his budget.
right.
Because I know that our budget's a little bit different than what his budget looks like. He's living on a ramen budget,
Right, right,
trying
right,
to
right.
trying to incorporate more meat and less carbs in a ramen budget. And
Mhm.
we don't necessarily have steak every night budget, but but
Right.
um but I was like trying to help him. I was like, kind of the way that I would look at it is ground beef first is going to be your best friend. You can get that on sale for, I mean,
Yep.
chances of him being 24 and wanting to meal prep or buy the 10-pound tubes when they're on sale. Excuse me. Um, buy like the 10-pound tubes when they're on sale and cut them into things and put them in the freezer and pull them out. He's not going to do that. So
Mm-mm.
he's always looking at $3+ a pound for ground beef. I was like, eggs. He's like, well, I got a dozen. I was like, anyway.
Not enough. Go get
Right.
5
And
dozen.
he's like, I have trouble eating enough protein. And he was like, well, what
Mhm.
kind of protein powder? I was like, protein powder is expensive.
Mhm.
I would focus on more eggs, more meat. Like,
Yep.
I'm like, you need to just up it. I mean, I don't know how to tell you to eat more, but I mean, eat more. I mean,
Right.
but because I wouldn't say, if you're on a ramen noodle budget trying to get a clean protein powder for an affordable price, it's probably
Mm-mm.
not going to happen. You're going to be able to get something that maybe Aldi has or something that may be full of maltodextrin or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's
But
not gonna be good. Yeah.
so I worry about that. But he's just like I tell him, well, chicken thighs are cheap. He's like, but I only like chicken breast. Okay. I don't understand who likes chicken breast over chicken thighs.
I have never liked chicken breast. I mean, I would choke it down back in the day
Yeah.
when I thought fat was bad for me, but I
Hmm.
never liked it. Blech.
Yeah, it's always dry.
Yes.
I don't
Mm,
mind when you're pulling it like out of a rotisserie chicken because then you can
right.
mix it in with some of the thigh meat or whatever, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But like, I don't ever go out of my way to buy, chicken breast unless it's
Mm-mm.
like cheaper than chicken thighs, which is almost never.
Right.
And you can cut it thin or whatever. And like, I have like a keto batter you can batter it with, make like chicken strips or whatever. But you know,
Yeah.
but you got a
Yeah,
doctor
it's
to make it taste good.
yeah, it's just never been enjoyable, but there are people out there that my teacher bestie that I'm going to that wedding of her daughter today, she prefers chicken breast too. I don't know how. And she's keto. She's meat-based keto, but she does like chicken breast if she's going to eat chicken. But she's mostly beef now, which is like her son just can't even understand his like brain. Like, what? You're eating beef again? You're eating beef again? Because she used to just hardly ever do beef. And now that she's more like keto and she's getting more into, she's all about the beef now.
It is strange though, because people's palates over the like people like so like the standard zeitgeist or whatever, like our natural association with chicken being far healthier for you over beef has
Mm-hmm.
kind of made it to where you're ignoring the more nutrient dense food for a cheaper, less nutrient dense food, but it's
Mm-hmm.
more palatable to the average person because it doesn't really taste like anything. And like if you're used to eating chicken all the time, then obviously you're going to be like, okay, beef is hard to like, people eating hamburger, like the average person eats a hamburger and they're getting like what? Not even like 2 ounces.
Right. Yeah,
And
that's
then
never been me. Even back in my carb days, I mean, I was like the, double for sure. Give me all the
you and your
all
In and
that
Out,
on there. Yeah,
just
In and
brag
Out.
about it. It's fine.
I love In and Out. And now that my son drives, I just make him go wait in the long line.
They're supposedly moving closer to us because I think they're opening an office in Nashville, Tennessee. So
Okay.
you would imagine that if they're opening one in Nashville, Tennessee, and they're putting an office, that means because they only deliver fresh meat every day, so they don't have freezers. So they're going to have to put some infrastructure in place to supply that store in Tennessee. I'm
Mm-hmm.
5 hours from Tennessee, so that's a truck ride up here. But the downside to that would be then it's not as special as it once was. Because right now
Hey,
the closest one is like in Dallas, Texas.
I mean, we have one down the street and it's not, I'm not sick of it yet. I had my first Flying Dutchman the other day. That was good. Never had, and I had pickles on it.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
been like the bane of my carnivore month this month is pickles. Like
Pickles.
I've been craving pickles like a pregnant woman. Like for
That's
real. Like I've been
funny.
like eating half a jar of pickles with my like it doesn't matter if I made chicken thighs the other night, I was putting pickles on it. I was making burgers,
Pickles.
pickles on it. I'm like, it's carnivore month. I'm not supposed to be eating pickles, but I'm like,
Yeah.
so good and I need it.
I don't do pickles very often, but I'm not against it. Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm not about the labels, right? I'm not against it. So yeah, when I ordered that Flying Dutchman, I'm like, told my son, get me a Flying Dutchman with pickles. And they did not disappoint with it was pickles, a lot of pickles. But yeah, that was good. And
Yeah,
you don't
I'm
have
not
to do
against
any,
pickles, but
yeah.
but
You
for
don't have
me,
to do
like I was
any
like, I'm trying to do carnivore month, and I'm like trying
right,
not to
right,
have
right, right,
pickles for
right,
this
right,
month, and I'm
right.
like,
Yeah, for this month, you're supposed to be strict.
it's not working. So I failed with pickles.
Failed. Pickle fail.
I might as
Pickle
well just have
failure.
some onions today too. You know what I mean? And just go off the rails.
Yeah, it's just right off. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I haven't had onions, but I've had, pickles, some avocado here or there. Um, but yeah, Flying Dutchman for the win because you don't have to do any special. You just order it just like that. You don't have to say this, but can you leave this off and all these, special things. So yeah, it was good. And I don't get sick of In and Out. Doesn't happen, even
Well,
though
that's
it's a
another
couple
thing. Like
miles away.
every time we're nearby, I get so excited to go, and nobody else seems to care for it. Like the first time Shannon and I we went. Well, I took her to Vegas years ago, like 2015, before we were keto or whatever.
Mhm.
And I was super excited to get In and Out. Now they have In and Out on the Strip. They didn't have it at the time,
Mm.
so we had to go off Strip, like go like a mile down the road off the Strip to get to In and Out. And I got some, and she's like, "I'm not eating that. It's gross." I'm like, "How do you know you haven't had it?"
Not
I just know it's gross.
gross. It's delicious.
The same thing with like Whataburger. Like Whataburger is like one of those things. Like I think the closest to us is somewhere in Alabama. Well, maybe now in Tennessee. I think they've got a couple like in Tennessee, so like 5 hours from us. But like
Mhm.
that's how it is for me. Like if it's something I get on vacation, I'm excited about it. But if they start moving up here, then I'm like, well, will it still be as good? I imagine In-N-Out Burger would be fine, but
I don't know. You let me know if you get sick of In-N-Out. I don't know.
I just know when we get one, I won't be going for a few weeks. Because every time they open one, like the lines are
it's
just
insane.
crazy.
Oh, if you go at dinner time here, and the In-N-Out's been open here for several years. If you go at dinner time, you're waiting an hour. That's just what it is.
We had a restaurant open up. It was like a fast food place here that opened up in like I don't know what it was, an old fast food restaurant building. It opened up. It was just called California Grill.
Mm.
And it opened up kind of like mid-pandemic or beginning of the pandemic, but then all of a sudden it got like social media trendy in our area.
Mm.
So like people were waiting 4 hours.
That's too long.
Like that, where the cops had to come in and have people like they'd have to come like up and down a side street. They couldn't just come off the main street because it was blocking traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was like, I can go make a video of this and I could sit and edit videos and do whatever I want while I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I never did, but I'm guessing I don't know. I never tried it. I think it's still open, but I haven't tried it. But it's died off.
Yeah,
But
right. It was
I
viral
think
for a
it was
little
supposed to be
while,
like
and
California burger or whatever, kind of like In-N-Out,
Mhm.
but it didn't look like In-N-Out to me. So
Well, when I
yeah.
think if they're gonna call it California Grill or whatever, they're gonna have to have some avocados and stuff, because that's usually what I think. Whereas In-N-Out, although yes, it's California based or whatever, but they don't have avocados there.
There was a
Yeah.
thing when we went on vacation years ago to we were in Colorado and the kids saw a Del Taco, and we don't have them here.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
there was a thing with Rick and Morty, this show that this cartoon they were into at the time. It
Uh-huh.
was an adult
Yeah.
cartoon, really, but they were watching it anyway. And they were mispronouncing everything, and they were like, I guess so. They had so it was an on purpose thing because Del Taco had free. It was fresh avocado,
Mhm.
but the way they pronounced it was free shavacado. So like they were talking about this like the whole trip, and I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, Del Taco's got free shavacado, and I'm like, what is that? And then they had to break it down. Then I found the best way to get them to stop saying something annoying is to adopt it,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
then
Yeah,
just say
because
it.
then it's not cool anymore, and then they won't do
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. But Del Taco's got free shavacado. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
but
Del
I had
Taco's another California thing, but
yeah, I've had it once.
it's okay.
I got a burger and fries. They were really good, but
Yeah.
that was like 2006.
Now that I'm carnivore or keto or whatever you want to say, I mean, you'd have to spend a lot because you're taking off buns and tortillas right and left. They don't really have an option. Somebody asked up above, what's the Flying Dutchman? So it's just
Oh, where
it's
was that?
two patties. I don't know. I just saw it like a while
Oh,
back and I lost track of it. It's so Flying Dutchman is on. So In-N-Out, if you don't know, if you're not from California or you don't have one near you, hey Russ, they have like this whole secret menu. I mean, you could look it up on Google, but it's like
yeah,
a
it's not.
secret menu.
Yeah,
It's not that secret, but like you're
no.
not going to see it on the menu when you pull up. And on that secret menu is a Flying Dutchman, which is just two patties, they're beef patties with like two slices of cheese between the patties. So like they have like a protein style burger, which is just like wrapped in lettuce and it has all the like tomato and onion and whatever on there. You can do that. But I don't do lettuce and stuff really anymore. So yeah, the Flying Dutchman is just the beef and cheese. And so I just ordered that, but then I just added pickles. Yeah, it was really good.
So there's a creator that I've been friends with for a while, and he just kind of came back and was making content again, and he's out in California as
Okay.
well, and he's been posting video of him eating like the Flying Dutchman with pickles and the grilled onions or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, so good.
Yeah, one of these days I might have to get those grilled onions because I do like those. I don't usually do onions because, like you said, they are a little carby, but here and there, yeah, the
They
grilled
just add
onions
so
at
much
In-N-Out are good.
flavor.
They're good. They're good.
So Russ is here, homesick Buckeye. Thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, nice to see you, Russ.
Oh yeah, there it is. There's the Flying Dutchman.
There it is. What is the Flying Dutchman? Well, there we go.
How are y'all with
Olives.
olives?
I like olives. I haven't had them in a long time. I think at this point, if they were like on a charcuterie board, I'd probably eat a few olives, but I don't. I used to buy them. Like when I was keto, I used to buy them. The Kalamata ones is what I would get. And they were fine. They didn't cause me any problems. But I just don't really buy them anymore. But like I said, if I was out somewhere and there was a charcuterie board with some olives and, I might take a few. They're good.
Yeah, I like olives. So I mean, that was kind of a go-to thing for a while for me would be pickles, olives,
Mm.
um, when just doing regular keto because it was like something I could just have some olives while watching TV or whatever, trying to,
Mm.
scratch that itch of something snacky,
Snack.
salty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't eat them. I mean, I still have probably a bunch in my pantry. Just like I realized I had a bunch of pickles in my pantry that I didn't know about, even though I'm the one that organizes the pantry. Just like I've got a lot of stuff. Like we've got cans of tuna for days and just so much stuff that I forget that it's in there because we do kind of get like hyper focused on just having meat and eggs and
Mm-hmm.
such
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for most part. So then I forget that there's pickles and olives and then I forget that I have sardines in there. Like the other day, like I'll tell you, if you've never had, and I know it's kind of controversial, and you can say like, and there's a lot of people who are anti-sardine. Now, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like the full fish-looking sardines kind of person. That's not me. Not that I wouldn't try them, I just haven't. But I get the boneless, skinless, and olive oil and sea salt from Costco, and that's basically just like a tuna, but it's like a fattier tuna. And I'll just mix 2 cans in with like 6 eggs and scramble them up, and that stuff is good. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
nope, never gonna eat that." Nope. I'm like, "Do you eat tuna?" Yeah. Tuna's dry and not fatty. At least the
Mm-hmm.
tuna is.
Yeah.
But the canned
Yeah. This
sardines are delicious.
The salmon I said I've been adding to up my protein, I'm not enjoying it. I've never been a seafood person, and you're right, it is dry. But like the whole point was to add a little protein without adding a lot of fat since my fat grams were good. And so yeah, I just kind of but I just ate it.
Are you eating
It's not
fresh
enjoyable.
salmon or are you eating canned
No,
salmon?
just out of a can because I take it to work, right?
Mm.
Like it's because at work I don't want to. Yeah, I eat a small lunch at work because we get 45 minutes and I want to enjoy like my dinner. So I want to sit down with a steak and all that at dinner. I don't want to, it's too much work to do all that for work. Like I just want to shove a couple bites in my face so I'm not starving. So I bring hard boiled eggs. I might bring bone broth that I can just heat up. And then I've been adding, like I said, that can of salmon and putting a little extra salt in there and just eating it. But it's not enjoyable. It's just to get the protein in.
Oh, I'll tell
I
you,
do
like
like hard boiled eggs, but not the salmon so much.
salmon. So I don't think I've ever had canned salmon necessarily, unless when I was a kid, my mom and grandma would make salmon patties. So,
Mhm.
like, adding, like, saltine crackers and whatnot, and
Mhm.
then egg
Mhm.
and mix it up and fry them up. But,
Yeah.
like, fresh salmon, we'll buy it when it's on sale, and pads of butter, salt,
Yeah.
seasonings, and, like, olive oil or something and roast it in the oven till it's done. There's so much delicious fat in that, and it's so tender, and then then you have, like, the butter and the olive oil. It's just so good. I'll eat, like, 2 pounds of that. I'll be miserable, but I'll eat, like, 2 pounds of it, and I'm just if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like it's a good like you've eaten too much, but like you can rest it. It's gonna like not make you all bloated and all that stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think the canned salmon, it doesn't taste like because I don't like fish. I don't like seafood. I just don't like it. None of it. I don't like shrimp, fish, lobster. It's not my jam. But I could see that the canned salmon would be more palatable if you made something, I mean, minus the crackers, but like with an egg, some kind of patty like that, like you said, like the salmon patty with some egg, add some fat to it. But that wasn't my intention. My intention was to find a way to up my protein. So that's what I was attempting to do. And that's what I've been doing at lunch. And usually at lunch, I'm hungry enough that I'm like, all right, I eat it first, before. So I'm hungry enough that I can do it. But it's not like, ooh, this is so good. It's just to get some protein in there.
Yeah, Twin Maples is right. Now there is something
Mhm.
that I have found with Buffalo Wild Wings is they have started doing like a smaller version where it's not a sit down restaurant. My understanding is if you're
Mm.
going to Buffalo Wild Wings proper, where you go in and sit down, they've got the TVs and everything. They're cooking the wings in beef tallow. But if you go to like their fast food style, like order counter stuff, where they don't have the sit down. I think my understanding is they cook the wings in the same oil they fry everything else in. So the
Mhm.
canola oil. So the French fries and everything are still fried in canola or whatever seed oil they're utilizing.
Yeah.
But the wings at the full size restaurants are using beef tallow. So some places, I don't know how far reaching the smaller ones are, but it's always worth mentioning because if you're going to that thinking, you're getting that. And yes, the sauces, but that's why I get mine naked, and then I can pick and choose a sauce and dip it at my, what I want, because I don't always have like a dip every wing or whatever. But it's nice to have kind of flavor sometimes. But,
Mhm.
you gotta know what you're getting into, and you kinda that used to be like our Tuesday night date night. We'd go to
Mm.
BW3's, and it was next door to the movie theater we like to go to, and then we started doing lives on Tuesdays, so now we don't really get to do date nights, but at least because it was cheaper. Tuesday night was cheaper at B-dubs, and Tuesday night was cheaper at the movie theater, so,
Yeah.
we'll probably have to start we'll have to move one around every once in a while so we can go on a date night.
Yeah, because
So
I can't catch you live on Tuesday because that's our Lioness Lifestyle Day, so we're both living it up on Tuesdays.
well,
So if
that's the hard part is, like, if
you
I like
can't,
you can't, and I
it's
want to. I
impossible.
don't. I wanna be able to be like, "Okay, here's a spot where nobody,"
Mhm.
but I mean,
Mhm.
even
No,
on
you can't.
Tuesdays, like, I knew going up on Mondays would be hard because Monday
Mhm.
night is going to be Dr. Barry, and he pulls
Mhm.
in 5,000 people.
Right.
So I was like, "Well, I'm not really stepping on his toes, but it might pull people who may want to not watch me over him or whatever," right? So then, like, I was, like, looking at Tuesday, there wasn't a lot. And
Mhm.
I know, like, I try, like, it's just one of those things, like, and I feel bad because, and there's some, like, inter-group squabbling that happens sometimes where, like, if you go live on a night that they go live, they take it personal.
Aw, that's a
And I'm
shame.
like, that is not the
It
case. Like, I struggle, like Shannon and I struggle trying to figure out what night was best. Like, I would rather not do it on a Tuesday night because I have another live stream that happens late on Tuesday. It usually goes 9:30 till about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. So I go
Wow.
late. And then, so like I usually have an hour between our live stream and when that one starts. I'm gonna like
Mhm.
hurry and put some food in my face and get stuff done
Mhm.
before I go to that live stream. And then when that live stream's over, we're like late for bed. And so and then like Wednesday nights there's stuff going on, Thursday nights there's stuff going on, Friday nights. That's why I was like, when I started doing the Saturday morning was not my idea, but my Sunday was like, okay, it's Sunday, 7:30 a.m. Nobody's live right now.
Yeah.
Nobody's probably even awake. No one's gonna
Yeah.
watch me. It's gonna be fine. I'm just gonna come on here and talk, but I'm not stepping on anybody's toes. And then James from Ready Set Keto was like, "Hey, I'll come on and talk with you if you do it on a Saturday."
Okay.
So
So now
and then
you've
he was
got,
my first guest, and then I was like, "Well, let's see who else wants to talk." And then now, here we are. I don't know how many I've done now, but I'm
yeah.
booked through the end of, like, all the way through March. I
Well,
haven't started booking people yet.
I
Yeah,
enjoy that you do the weekend mornings because you're right, nobody's live, and I'm up early over here on the West Coast, but I've got my coffee and, you get on YouTube or whatever, nobody else is live. I'm like, "Oh, there's Dustin." So, I'm usually in the chat
yeah,
on the weekends now that I've discovered you, so I appreciate it.
yeah. So that's just one of those things. Like,
You can't avoid it. I mean, somebody's usually live somewhere. I think I went live on Thursday, and before I was about to go live, I'm like, "Oh, shoot, there's like 3 other live streams right now. I'm probably gonna have 0 0 people viewing this," but
and I
yeah,
pop into everybody's. I don't always get to watch everybody's full live streams, and I don't expect
yeah,
people to watch my full live streams, especially if we're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
2 hours.
yeah.
Sundays I talk 2 hours. That's a lot of time to dedicate to listening to my voice. And I understand, and I try
Yeah.
to pop into everybody's live stream and spend, 5, 10, 15 minutes as best I can, especially, like, on nights where there's, like, so many, because I want
Mhm.
to, show that, we're paying attention, we're watching, we're supporting, we're going in, we're saying hello, and because it's a lot of, I mean, this is a lot of work, it's a lot of effort, it's a lot of dedication and time that goes into
Yeah.
sitting down with people, talking with people, doing it by yourself, getting everybody, the idea that you're pulling people in, you're making the contacts, you're setting a calendar, you're doing all these things, you're paying for a streaming, a service
Mhm.
to go live and make it look presentable and watchable. And You know, it's
Yep.
a lot of work. It's a lot of time. It takes a lot of dedication. So I try to support as many people as I can. And I've even started like looking at, thankfully my feed starts showing me like newer creators too.
Cool.
So I've been finding some small creators that have kind of popped up, and they may have 100 subscribers, and I'll shout them out on my Saturday, on my Sunday morning thing, or
That's
I'll link
cool.
them in there, and then I'll share their videos on my community page, whether it gets a lot of views or traction or not. But I mean, that's the thing is none of us are an island. We're all here. We're all in this together. So I want to make sure that we're all. I mean, everybody that's doing this is getting some views and all that stuff. So, I mean, and that's like, for those of us who are able to have members, I know that I'm lucky at this point to have some members. So I will go in and I will make sure, try to share and say thank you to.
Yay. That's
So
cool.
I just got some more. I added them as we were talking. So I had 4 more from last week. So I was
That's
trying to
what I
figure
could
that out.
do. So I only have 3 members. I just got where I could have channel members, like just like not that long ago. And then
Right.
I finally set it up. And so I have 3 whole members, but you can't like that little banner underneath when you're on your homepage of your YouTube channel, you have to have 8 members to put
Right.
that up there. So I'm like, well, that stinks because I can't put my little 3 members up there. But I could do that.
Yes.
Look, there I am, Dustin. I'm a member.
Yes.
I was gifted a free membership. That was super cool.
Yeah, I've been lucky. There was the first group of memberships that I have that was gifted. There was a channel that's a relatively big channel. I think he just hit 200,000 subscribers. He
Okay.
came on and gifted 20 memberships, and
Man,
then
that's awesome.
a gentleman came in, Bruce. I do a live stream with him on Tuesday nights on not his channel, but he's one of the panelists, and he
Okay.
gifted 5 memberships, and that's where yours came from.
Okay. Yeah, that was cool. I
So I went in,
appreciate
but I was
that.
like, I was on the fence for a long time about doing and having channel members
Mhm.
because I was like, I want to make sure that I'm providing enough value
Mhm.
and not just kind of like seeming like I'm just, you know, begging or whatever. That wasn't my idea. I was like, well, and I was finally decided because like YouTube will, once you get to the point where you can have it, YouTube kind of pokes and prods you with it. You
Mhm.
haven't set this up yet. You haven't set this up yet because they
Yep.
get a cut. They get a cut. So I was
Right.
like, what can I do that can provide value? I was like 99 cents, and I may add other tiers later. I don't
Mhm.
know. Only if I think that it's worth it. If it's going to provide people enough value to where they don't feel obligated to pay me just to feel obligated to pay me, but they're getting something out of it. Because like right now, like when I put out like VOD content or like actual videos, I will. If it's a product with a specific date launch, I won't. But some of the videos I'll put out just to the members so they can see it first,
Yeah, that's cool.
and then because I know there's stuff coming in the pipeline that it's not so secret, but there's things coming that we'll be making videos on in the next month, um, product launches and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
um, I mean, Steve from Serious Keto talked about it when he was on. So, um, but yeah, so I just like to make sure, and it's really neat to see people support you. And my goal with it was like, if I can make enough just to cover StreamYard, you
Mhm.
know, because I mean, any YouTuber knows if you're a YouTuber and you're doing any kind of stuff, you're in the red for years and years.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I
and I
just
know that's
got my
not why we do it.
microphone.
Yeah,
Can you tell the difference in my sound, Dustin? Because I just
it
got
sounds
like a
good.
real deal. Can you see it there?
Yeah.
Microphone.
Which one did you get?
It's the Samson Q9U.
Nice. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
got the Rode Pod mic thing that I've got. It's like $99 and it sounds great.
Yeah, you always sound great. I have no knowledge of microphones. I just got a couple of, advice from other YouTubers. I was like, well, you sound good. What mic do you have? I just asked a couple people and this
It's
is the
not. I
one
mean,
I
it's
landed on.
these
But
days. It's really nice because you can get something for sub $100
mhm.
and sound fine.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's good
yeah,
to know that I sound good because you can't really tell. Like you have to watch it back to kind of tell how you sound.
yeah. And I don't
Just
like
for me.
earphones or like. So I've got like actual like monitors.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't have that. That's a whole
No.
other level that I have not added. So you can see I've added my little
Yeah.
earbuds because I have to have them with this microphone now. it is kind of annoying, but yeah, I don't have monitors. So,
because I've got some nice like headphones like over the ear. They make me sweaty, and I don't like them.
yeah.
And I found that the with the software you can't hear my monitors, so because it does the canceling. So
There you go. Maybe someday. I have a
and
cat right here.
I see.
That's what I have. I don't have a monitor, but
Russ says he loves sardines and mustard sauce. So one of the things I like if I'm just eating the sardines plain out of the can, I'll drain a little bit of the fat off of it because they usually pack it in so much. And then I put mustard and sriracha on
That
it. It's
sounds
so
good,
good.
actually.
But usually the
Yeah.
mustard sardines are usually bone and skin too. And I haven't got there yet.
I mean, when I tried the one time that I tried sardines, it was the bone in, skin on. I ate one full sardine and then Pixel got the rest of those. I just couldn't do it.
I saw last night at Costco. I should have I probably have to go back this week to get berries and stuff for the young one. They had a avocado oil mayonnaise. Now I'm not a mayonnaise person, but I always keep an eye out for that type of stuff because I'll see it and it'll say avocado oil, and then you'll look at it. It's like
Nope.
avocado oil is the last ingredient, but canola
Right.
oil is the first one, right? But
Yep.
this one was like no bad oils, and even said on the side, I was like, and it was only $10 for like a fairly decent sized jar. Because I
Nice.
know with like the Primal Kitchen stuff, it's like a little 8-ounce jar for like $10. So this was
Yep.
like a 32-ounce, maybe 40-ounce jar for $10. So, you know,
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to try that. I've tried the Primal Kitchen. I paid the big bucks and I really did not like the flavor. Sorry, Primal Kitchen, but I didn't like it. I did like my homemade, like I made the butter mayo, the Chris Cookin' Nashville recipe that like doesn't, get hard in the fridge with butter. And it tasted really good, but it's a lot of work. Like it
oh
takes a
yeah.
long time. Easy, but it takes a long time. And I'm like, yeah, this is not something I will ever do on a regular basis. I'm just not going to happen. So I don't know. And I think Russ said earlier I should add some mayo to that, to my canned fish, which I would do if I had some, but I don't like like I said, I don't like the one kind, and making it is
Have you tried making your own, like with avocado oil, egg, and a little bit of
I've
mustard or
only
whatever?
tried the butter. I've only tried the
Okay.
butter mayo, and it was delicious. I'm just saying, because you have to add it also slowly to like emulsify everything, and yeah, it was just a pain. I mean, it was like it was easy. It was just time consuming. So it's just not something I'm going to do like every single week or whatever, because you
So
can't. It
making
doesn't
your
last
own
in the
mayo, like
fridge.
yeah, if you make just regular like avocado mayo and egg, it
Mhm.
takes like 30 seconds.
Okay.
Right, the cleaning of your like emulsion blender and the container you're making, like you can make it right in the mason jar and just seal it up. But cleaning
Yeah.
your immersion blender probably takes longer than making the mayo.
Okay. Okay.
Because I have
Okay.
one of my early videos I made some
Yeah.
because I didn't want to buy it because we don't use
Right.
it, but I needed
Right.
it for
Right.
a
Right.
recipe. So,
Right.
but Evelyn has a question for you. She says, "Do you ever
Mm.
fast? If so, what kind of fasting? Only for challenges or incorporated throughout your journey?"
So I've tried fasting a few times at all different ways. So I've done intermittent fasting pretty regularly, and that's not like intentional. It's just I'm not hungry for 15 to 18 hours, right? And so that's generally what I'll do. So like I'll eat dinner early. I eat dinner as soon as I get home from work, so around 4 o'clock, and then I usually don't eat again until my lunchtime. Which us we teachers, it's very regimented. So it's 11:45 is lunch. So that's however long that is. That's how long my fast usually goes, because I'm just not hungry in between. And I'll do that most days. But if I am hungry for breakfast, I'll eat some eggs, before school, if I am hungry. So I'm not like, real strict on that. But most days that is what ends up happening. When I was keto, I tried some as long as 36 hours, but yeah, it was not, I don't think I'm cut out for it. I was having to white knuckle it. I was miserable, hungry, yeah, queasy, wasn't good. And then in January, I tried a 48-hour fast, and I even tried some priming, like eating 3 full meals a day, like the days leading up to it. And yeah, it did not go well. But I mean, I did it, but I had a bad headache, and I don't know. Once I get past that 15 to 18 hour mark, I just start getting hungry, and then I just get miserable. So I don't want to feel like that. So I mean, if I didn't feel that way, or if I could ever get to that point, and maybe I haven't done it long enough to get to that place where people say you just feel amazing and you get this crazy energy. Like, I've never gotten to that point. I've only felt sick, dizzy, headachy, queasy, starving, when I've tried 36 to 48 hours. And like I said, I did push through. I did do the 48 hours. But I yeah, I don't know what benefits I may have gotten autophagy wise or anything else, but I sure didn't feel very good. So that's my experience. How about you? I know you've done longer fasts, right, Dustin?
Yeah, I've done up to 21 days.
Yeah.
So I started the year with a 7-day fast. Evelyn asked me a question and I didn't get a chance to answer it last week when Goody Beats was on, but she asked me if I was going to make a video on how I break a fast. And yes,
Mm.
I will be making that video. It'll probably be a pretty short one, but not a short. But yes, I do plan to do that. And I apologize for not answering that question then. But yeah, I think for me, I started, and I think it also has a lot to do with how much body fat you have. As somebody who came from having lots and lots of body fat, it's a lot
Mhm.
easier to incorporate a fasting regimen. And I was very diligent with it. I was, because when I started keto, intermittent fasting, butter coffee, it was like 2016. If you weren't fasting 16 hours a day, you weren't keto. You know what I mean? I mean,
Mhm.
that's just the way it kind of seemed like. And like I was doing 16 hours a day. Well, at first I started doing 12 and I was eating a lunch and having my coffee. And then it was like, I slowly went to 14 and 16 and 18. And for a long time, I was like 20 to 22 hours a day, just
Okay.
having the one meal, like within like a 2 to 3 hour window,
Mhm.
depending. And I did that basically through when the pandemic started and we got sent home from work. Because
Okay.
then I'm sitting at home all day.
Mhm.
The refrigerator's downstairs and it knows my
Mhm.
name and it's like, hey. But because for me, fasting was a way to realistically laziness. Because then if I was fasting throughout the day and going to work, I didn't have to pack a lunch.
Mhm.
I didn't have to meal prep lunches for myself. I didn't have to do any of that. I just go to work, have some coffee or have water, and then come home. And then when I made food for everybody, then I had my dinner. That's when I was cooking
Mhm.
for them. I cooked for them and me and everybody. And then we all ate and we all cooked keto. I didn't cook anything besides keto. And that's how we lived because that was just, I can get up in the morning, get showered, get out the door, not have to worry about grabbing a lunch or forgetting a lunch or having to pay for lunch
Mhm.
out. And because going out every day is a huge expense. So I didn't have that anymore. I didn't do that. It was just easy. I was lazy, cheap, and that meant I could eat better food later. Like we'd have more steak and we'd have more because I wasn't spending all that money going out to lunch and I wasn't spending all that
Mhm.
money eating stuff throughout the day. So, you know, that's basically how mine started. And then it was more for me, it was how far could I push it?
Mm. Like a
How far could
challenge
I
to
go?
yourself.
It was a challenge. I mean, I didn't go hard. So I went from 20 hours and then I would like my first 48-hour fast was basically because after work, I was going to like a concert with friends. So then that means I didn't eat dinner that night. I got home from the concert, I didn't eat because it was late. So then I'd go to bed,
Mhm.
get up the next day, wouldn't eat because it wasn't wasn't my scheduled time to eat. So then I wouldn't
Mhm.
eat until I got home that night. So right there's a 48 plus hour fast just because I didn't want to eat at a concert. I didn't want to get French fries or whatever.
Right.
And I didn't want to stop somewhere on the way home. I didn't want to cook when I got home at 1 in the morning. or whatever, midnight, whatever. And so that's how that kind of started. And then I was like, well, I did 48 and I felt fine. What does 72 look like? Well, how am I going to feel at 72? And then and then I was like 4 days, 5 days. And this is over the course of years. This wasn't like all in like 1 month I was doing this. This was slowly stretching that out, slowly kind of working that muscle, slowly incorporating longer and longer. Now the 21 days took me like 2 or 3 attempts.
Mm.
I made it to like 15 days, 14. Like I made it like 14 days. And I was like, okay, that's a lot. I'm done. Then I made it to 15 days and didn't feel right. It took me a while to tweak what I was doing with electrolytes and keeping myself hydrated enough. So this last 7-day fast, I was doing the unflavored electrolytes from both Element and Salty because I didn't have enough of either to go the full 7 days. And then I was adding, salt to my water too. And then I was also adding some supplements on top of that. So adding into, the calcium, potassium, magnesium, and such. That helped a great deal as well. So sometimes I found when I'm fasting, if I don't get enough of my electrolytes, I kind of lay in bed and I'm like awake and I'm not sleeping. And some people attribute that to, I just have so much energy. And I was like, well, I still need to sleep. I've never had that. Well, I don't want to lay awake all night and then be drowsy the next day. So I want to sleep when I need to sleep. And because when we're up when I've got that girl, her feet hit the floor, she's running. You got to be able to keep up. So,
Yeah.
it's only the daytime, but she wears you out because like I said, and so that's really where it came from. Now I do my 7 days once a year, twice a year, maybe for a little autophagy. And Jason Fung, for those who may not be familiar with who Dr. Jason Fung is, he's a nephrologist, which is a kidney doctor out of Canada. And he is a huge proponent of fasting. And he promotes it for well-being and health and all of that, and autophagy. And he pushes it. He says, basically, if you do 1 7-day fast a year, you basically will be eliminating a huge percentage of chance of things like cancer and stuff like that. So I don't know how much research has gone into that, but I figure if it's not hard for me to do that and it's not detrimental to my health, but it could help me in the long run. Because my grandma had lung cancer. She was a smoker for a long time. I smoked until I was about 30 years old.
Okay.
So I have not smoked in almost 14 years now. Well, yeah, I was almost 31 when I quit. Because I quit like the month I turned 31 or whatever. So yeah, I'll be 45 this year. So almost 14 years. So I smoked when I was like 16, 18. You're not really, you're not supposed to, but you do anyway because you're a dumb kid. And I smoked into my 30s. So I need all the knocking on wood I can get. You know what I mean? So I feel that if I can fast once or twice a year for that amount, and I'm kind of like intermittent fasting throughout the time anyway, just because of hunger and not necessarily because I'm trying to be on a clock. When I get up in the morning, I have my coffee, then I'm not hungry again until who knows when. Sometimes 9 o'clock at night, sometimes 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes I'm hungry like at noon. And then when I'm hungry, I eat. So I don't have like a scheduled window anymore. It is based on hunger now. But but then again, I can go all night and not eat and eat the next day. It just depends. So, that's the thing is like everybody's a little bit different.
Well, Dustin, I hate to do this, but I do have a wedding to get ready for today that I'm going to. So,
can I get all gussied up and have a good time?
Fancied up. And I got to eat something before I go. There's not going to be any keto or carnivore options. So I do need to do that because it's going to be all full of carbs. I asked.
Most weddings are.
Yeah, right. So it's fine. I'm fine with that. I don't feel bad about sitting there not eating. I used to wonder about that, but I've done that a few times. It turns out fine. I'm not worried about that. But I do need to leave myself time to eat my ribeye that I unthawed so that I can not be starving and enjoy my time there.
Well, I want to say thank you very much for being here. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat who asked questions, everybody who put comments that we didn't necessarily get to.
Yeah.
But thank you all so very much for being here. I know I appreciate you, and I know that you're streaming this on your channel as well, and
Yep.
all of your subscribers and everybody appreciates this, all the work that we put into this. And thank you again to my members. Thank you to your members.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. And thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next time, okay?
All right. Bye, everybody.